This guy, by the way, is super dead.
Hey, guys.
Also, I take back what I said about these people grifting. I think these people are just crazy. Holy.
This is a video update on Dad's health, as well as a much longer portion of information about what he's suffering from, what a lot of people are suffering from, unfortunately, and what my experience with these issues was. These updates are not fun for me. They're really stressful, and I would have updated you guys sooner, but he's still been really sick, and he got worse over the last few months, and I'm 25 weeks pregnant, and I wasn't able to record anything without weeping the whole time until this week, apparently. And it stresses out my whole family to talk about it online, and there's no point in adding stress to an already stressful situation, except that because we're public, Dad in particular, it's also stressful not talking about it because then rumors get started, and then that's all people wonder about. So, here goes.
So he's dead.
Not yet. Extra meme on them talking about you a bit later. Watch kissing fold. Fold on what? They both hate me. Wait, how can they talk about me so much?
The other side thinks that that's totalitarian, though, right? That's the worldview divide. So the question is, how can you tell a person, how do you tell Destiny that it's immoral that he sucked 50 dicks? How do you do that? If it's the case that that's not a moral fact. How? Well, you can't. And that's where they live. That's
well, he's talking.
It's also such a boring statement because, like, why would you bring up these would be like the most contentious claims on the right. Like, this would be my way of attacking the right in a bad faith manner. If I go, oh, the right wants to tell you who you can or who you can't have sex with or whatever, right? Those are going to be the most contentious, meaning the least defensible claims on the right. A stronger claim would be related to abortion because they would say, well, we want to protect babies from being murdered by you guys for engaging in immoral behavior, right? That would be a stronger position. So he even picks like the weakest conservative position to attack me on, because I think even people that believe in some kind of moral fact or some kind of objective moral goodness or whatever would obviously acknowledge there's going to be a difference between actions that two people might take or one person might take that could be detrimental to them, either in character and morality or physically, right? So either having premarital sex or gay sex or whatever, or in doing drugs. But that's going to be a different type of negative behavior than something where you're damaging another person or attacking another person, right?
That's not a moral fact. How? Well, you can't. And that's where they live. That's
well, his sucking of dicks is irrelevant to me personally. He's perfectly entitled to suck as many dicks as he wants. I encourage him to.
Oh, so he acknowledges the difference because he's not quite as religious or whatever as Constantine here, yeah.
To do more.
Yeah, but why? Why is it that this idea of like OnlyFans hookers and homosexual marriage and stuff like this, why is that stuff we have to deal with again? Like why?
Why isn't it?
Oh, and it's funny that Andrew brings this up. I'll never remember this for future debates, and other people never remember this. But Andrew is always of the mindset that he never criticizes other people's life choices. That was why that Charlie girl got so underneath his skin when she pointed out that he's got a wife who has like 3 different kids with 7 different fathers or whatever. And he's like, why would you attack me personally? Or why would you attack her or whatever? And I've seen somebody else bring this up where it's like, well, you tell these girls or whatever that they're being immoral or their life choice are bad. It's like, where? Show me where I've ever told somebody that the way they're living their life is immoral. I never, ever tell people how to live their lives or whatever. He always says that. But like here, it's pretty obvious that that is the perspective he has, that he should be able to dictate to other people, their choices and their being immoral
and homosexual marriage and stuff like this. Why is that stuff we have to deal with again? Like why?
Why isn't it?
Well, see what I mean though? Like even that question, why isn't it? It's like, that's not giving an accounting for a worldview. That's asking me to give an accounting for a worldview.
Yeah.
But
you're insisting that there is a worldview that's correct,
sure,
right? And therefore it's up to you to articulate why it is correct.
Sure, but when you say, why isn't it?
It's a genuine question. I'm trying to probe your worldview, that's all.
And I'm going to walk you through it. If there are no moral facts, because I said so, that's why. And that's the failure of left-wing and progressive anti-realists. If there are no moral facts, and you ask me why it is that I should enforce my worldview, because I fucking want to. And there's no way for you to ever object against that. Any objection you have, which is stance-dependent, which it will be, it's going to be the same objection that I give you, which is stance-dependent. So which one of us is right?
Well, that's why we have elections, so that is adjudicated and then legislated on, right? Because ultimately there's philosophy and then there's politics, right? So you might philosophically believe that homosexuality is wrong, but at a level of society, we can have a vote, and it may turn out that the majority of the country doesn't agree with you.
But do you agree with me that your morality cannot come from the majority? Because if it does, all you're doing is doing the exact same thing. You're just saying, hey, now the majority says there are no moral facts, or only moral facts come from the majority.
Well, sure.
If that was the case, then we could have slavery, and that would be moral simply because the majority said it was.
And at one point it was, right?
And those
people believed in God way more than we do.
Well, yes,
they did.
This is true, but the thing is like that's the idea of presentism. The whole world always believed in that. Just like the whole world usually didn't entertain things like race mixing, though they had no conceptualization of race. They thought of things in a tribal way, but they didn't do that either. Like that was one of the things the United States always gets shit because in the 20s, 30s, 40s.
Okay, all right.
Dad's been suffering from an old neurological injury that's more recently been causing akathisia.
Uh-oh.
Akathisia is the worst thing I've ever seen anyone go through. That sounds dramatic, but it's true. We talked about it in 2020 and 2021 when he experienced it after clonazepam injured him. And I'll explain why it's an injury in a bit.
Okay.
I had a very brief experience with akathisia with symptoms that were extremely horrifying, but not as severe as his when I went through antidepressant withdrawal from Lexapro. That was just over 10 years ago.
What is akathisia or whatever she's talking about?
You don't seriously?
No, I have no idea.
I don't know. Akathisia is the complete or partial loss of voluntary muscle movement. Damn. Well,
Yeah, doesn't sound good.
doesn't sound good at all.
Experience, like the withdrawal period that was really severe, lasted 2.5 years for me, where I was nearly disabled. This was kind of before I had a public thing going on. That's when I just had a blog. I've linked a bunch of papers below about everything I'm going to talk about so that people watching can get scientific background information about what this is, because it's not talked about nearly enough for how catastrophic it is. In my opinion, psych med injuries and psych meds as a whole should be considered a national emergency, given 1 in 6 Americans, or possibly more depending on the stat, is on one of these medications. And long-term use appears to cause mitochondrial dysfunction that manifests.
Just as a heads up, I think I've said this before, but like anytime somebody brings up mitochondrial, metabolic, mold, oftentimes ketogenic or carnivore diets, they're always about to tell you the most retarded shit you've ever heard in your entire life. It's always the case.
As a neurological injury. I'll get into more of that in a bit too. Akathisia is a side effect that's way more common than people know, usually caused by psychiatric medications, although other medications can sometimes cause it, and so can sudden cessation from those medications. That's a huge trigger. So like suddenly stopping one of the medications that can also cause it. And sometimes people with Parkinson's can experience it too. It is intolerable discomfort that makes people want to crawl out of their skin. It's a neurological injury, really.
My face when you're rediscovering modern psychology. Did you know that if you suddenly stop taking a like SSRI or SNRI, that it could have really bad effects? Did you know that? Anybody know that? Anybody ever hear that before?
A lot of people don't survive it, and there's no quick fix, although I'll go into how we've dealt with it before. Without videotaping me sobbing, and it seems like a bunch of my sadness this week has turned into anger, which is actually at least more enjoyable for me.
You looked up the wrong disorder, by the way. Akathisia is not akinesia. Which one did I look up? Wait. Akinesia, Greek for immobilization or immobility, primarily refers to the Greek digital procedure for declaring a vehicle inactive to avoid road taxes via the My Car platform. I don't think it's this. Wait. Akathisia, or akathisia, a movement disorder characterized by an intense, uncontrollable urge to move and a subjective feeling of severe inner restlessness. Oh, often caused by antipsychotic medications. Okay.
Like in Footloose?
I don't know. I haven't seen that
Probably.
movie.
Me, but
Good one.
without posting a video of me sobbing, I don't know how to describe how bad it is in words, but I'm going to take a stab at it. You guys could look up videos of other people suffering with it if you want to. It's catastrophic. Before I get into it, let me be super clear. Dad has not been on a psych medication since January 2020. This recent flare-up of neurological symptoms wasn't due to new medications. That's partly why we had no idea what was going on for about 6 months. We went to specialists, obviously, and it was misdiagnosed repeatedly, which is super common. Then he got pneumonia and sepsis, and obviously that's a whole thing to recover from too.
Jesus.
And dangerous, you know. This year's just been
Wait.
then he got pneumonia and sepsis. That's partly why we had no idea what was going on for about 6 months. We went to specialists, obviously, and it was misdiagnosed repeatedly, which is super common. Then he got pneumonia and sepsis, and obviously that's a whole thing to recover from too. And
do healthy people normally get severe pneumonias, or is that almost always like a secondary infection or secondary from some other like surgery or big thing? Is that... I don't know why the fuck I'm asking, chat. I need to have... Do we have Dr. Flares? Oh, no, we do have Dr. Flares. Motherfucker.
We do.
Okay.
dangerous, you know. This year's just been terrible. This recent flare-up that started last August was likely due to the stress of both of his parents, my grandparents, dying last year, moving countries, selling his home, and mold exposures, which was enough to trigger a recurrence of neurological symptoms.
Not the mold exposures.
Like what he experienced in 2020, 2021, something we obviously didn't think was possible after 5.5 years away from these psych medications. But
Community-acquired pneumonia isn't uncommon. Definitely more common than sick leave. Community-acquired. Does that mean opportunistic infection? Does that mean a bacteria that's already in your body? Or what does community-acquired mean?
How have you not seen Footloose?
I don't know, because it sounds like a movie with it sounds like a musical or a dancing movie, which sounds like the most boring fucking thing in the universe.
It is a dancing
Then that's
movie.
exactly why I haven't seen it. Fuck you. Community acquired just means it's gotten outside of a hospital. Oh, so what, the hospital's not in the community, bruh?
I've talked.
You differentiate between nosocomial hospital
You don't know
acquired
that
and
word?
community acquired. No, what does it mean, Mutin?
No comprende.
Oh shit, you speak Spanish now? Quick meme.
I have a proposal for you
Yeah.
guys. Oops, sorry.
Okay,
this.
it's like Tokyo drifting the
This
straight.
is a map of the Middle East.
I actually thought your solution, it was like, what if it was the Middle East, but at a Dutch angle? What if we
incline.
spilled all the ships out of the strait?
The Middle East, the obvious problem, Strait of Hormuz right here. However, we have a tool that we have used throughout human history to be able to get boats from one place to another that we previously couldn't. What is it?
Water.
No, it's a canal. So if we build a canal from the Persian Gulf across Saudi Arabia to the Red Sea,
Right.
and they are our ally,
I see.
boats can go
Triple
across.
has.
Okay, even if we did this, what's the obvious problem?
Even if we did this?
No.
Shut up, dude. That doesn't make
Not
any
the
sense.
GDP
We built
of
the
Earth
Golden Gate
cannot
Bridge
afford-
in 3 weeks. We can do it if we put our mind to it.
You come with an idea and you say, dream with me.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
immediately
And I'm
drag
like,
it down.
I'm the-
It's Saudi Arabia. I'm sure they can foot
They can afford it, dude. The honest problem here, if you look at this, even if you had the money, is Djibouti. Djibouti could just do the same thing as Iran and block the Djibouti Strait, and then we're in the same position, right?
You're talking about Djibouti entering the Red
next
Sea.
to Eritrea in
That's
Africa.
already happening with Yemen. Yemen's already they're already in that.
Right,
little-
so this
okay.
canal doesn't make
So I'm
sense.
not worried so much about Djibouti breaking bad.
So where do we need to put the canal then? You go through Iraq, Kuwait, Syria, and Lebanon to the Mediterranean Sea, right? Because then
Sort
once
of the
boats-
safe zone.
Once the boats are there, we're scot-free. The problem? Lebanon, run by Hezbollah, who's an Iranian ally.
That
They're
actually
good.
wasn't the problem I was thinking of. I was thinking of a different
Damn.
problem in Lebanon right now.
Gentlemen, there is one obvious solution.
Okay.
You go north through Iran to the Caspian Sea. What is the single problem with that?
Okay.
The single
The
problem.
single problem.
The single problem with
Is that the Caspian Sea is not a sea, it's a big lake.
It's a big
So
lake.
that our
I did
boats
know
are
that.
stuck
Imagine
in the
figuring
Caspian
that out when you
Sea.
finally get there.
Once you're in the Caspian Sea, we just need one more canal. You go east. You go across Kazakhstan, across China, across all of Mongolia, across China again, across Russia, and then you're at the Sea of Japan.
Straight
Your boats
line.
are
Your boats
scot-free.
are sc-
Now we can go up through the Bering Sea, we can go through the Northwest Passage, down past Greenland, and we go to New York City. But gentlemen, what's the last remaining problem? Greenland could close the strait, which is why we do need to take Greenland. Donald
That's
Trump was right.
why.
And then we'll say,
just woke up.
checkmate. I have a proposal for
Yeah.
you guys. Oops, sorry.
Okay,
this.
It's like
I mean, he's
Tokyo.
right.
That was frickin' epic. Thank you.
You know, you can't enjoy anything anymore.
What? I said it was epic.
No, you said it in a condescending way. That was funny. That's humor.
It was less funny if you've been on Twitter where the canal meme was posted for 7
Oh, are
years.
people doing that?
Okay, yeah. Fuck you, bitch.
And something we obviously didn't think was possible after 5.5 years away from these psych medications. But I've talked to psychiatrists who say they have patients that
So
experience
psych med's bad now?
Well, whoa, there's more than that. Meds and mold, Mutin.
this. This has been
Mold.
unbelievably hard on my family. Every day for the last year has been hell. I haven't been posting podcasts regularly online because until
Thanks,
a few days
Joe
ago,
Bro
I
TV.
cried every single day. My brother's stressed out. My mom is stressed. I mean, it's impacting so many people. And of course, my dad, you know. Mom's, thank goodness, such a strong person. And thank God for faith. If it weren't for my dad and our love for him and the strength of our family and how we've been through so many health problems, you almost adapt. Now you don't because it's too awful, but like we have got good communication skills and we're closer, if anything, now. Otherwise, this would have just crushed us. I've certainly been walking around in a state of panic for almost a year now.
Jesus.
Pregnancy hormones definitely don't help that. And then to make matters worse, I don't even want to mention this really because I don't want to give it any attention.
But she will.
Some journalist online reached out to me trying to pin Dad's symptoms on stem cell treatments, which is so dumb it's hard to fathom. And I responded, which was stupid. You should just never respond to a journalist. But I was like, hey, I really appreciate you looking into doctors, but like, that's not what's going on with Dad. I'm going to talk about what's going on with Dad. But it just isn't associated with stem cells. And he ignored me. And
now, apparently they did some stem cell treatment and he got sick. Why do you think he got sick, Mr. Mooten? If it wasn't the stem cells, why do you think? What do you think she's going to say?
I would blame God. This is God's plan.
Okay.
Obviously.
Wrong, but we'll see.
Mold.
anyway, that kind of thing is
How, mold? From the stem
Yep,
cells?
it was mold. Yep. Moldy stem cells.
Okay. You're close.
annoying, obviously. So Dad had stem cell IVs over the years a couple times to see if they can help with neurological pins and needles and pain and like sensitivities and things. And I had mentioned in one of my videos that last summer in June, he had a stem cell IV from a specialist. This is a specialist I don't know. He was like hooked up with him from one of his friends, a great specialist, but it's not someone I'm connected to. He stayed in a moldy hotel for that treatment. And
Boom. I fucking knew it. I knew it was mold and
It
stem
was a
cells,
moldy
man.
hotel. Ah, moldy hotel, guys. Come on.
that brought back symptoms. It wasn't the stem cell IV. He's had hordes of those. And trying to link the stem cell IV in June
Hordes.
to sepsis from pneumonia in October is insane. Anyway, sepsis happens within days of an infection. So not only are we dealing with missing my dad, pregnancy for me, taking care of him, and being really sad, but we also have to deal with morons on the internet.
And mold.
So that sucks.
And mold.
The problem this year likely was that because we didn't know stress and mold exposure, it was stress really too, could
And mold.
re-trigger old neurological injuries.
And
it was
stress.
misdiagnosed a bunch, and then medications and supplements that were used by a few of the doctors in hospitals worsened symptoms.
What's your opinion on retarded Trump supporters celebrating the strait being reopened? How am I supposed to answer
It's
that?
not open.
What is my opinion on it? They're retards. What do you want me to say? They're retarded.
What is your opinion on retards?
What is my
Steven? Go
opinion
ahead.
on retards? They're retarded. What am I supposed to say to that?
Enough that it got to the point where we were like, oh, we know what akathisia is. Oh no. So now that we know what it is and have proper doctors, it can be carefully healed again, like it has before.
Yes.
And it is. So thank God for that.
Thank God.
It's just horrifying, and it's so infuriating that these sensitivities, this damage that can cause severe symptoms like this, can last for so long after stopping psych meds and then apparently be re-triggered. People online, this is another thing I'm frustrated about. If I come off as like frustrated in this, I apologize. Like I said, I've probably tried to channel. Oh no. Okay.
Oh, mold in the room.
I was like, I can do this without crying.
up.
I've probably tried to channel.
He's dying, Mooten. Great. Now you've made her upset. Good job, Mooten.
Yeah. Moldy room.
Good job, Mooten.
Wow. Well, I'm not channeling very well right now, but I've been trying to channel my
She could have edited this out.
like
by the way.
sadness because I've been so sad into anger
Editing out the humanity, Mooten.
because I'm tired of being sad. But this like neurological injury, calling it an addiction, is so stupid. Dad doesn't fall into that category. We've made that clear so many times. He quit smoking and drinking when he was 27. He just isn't that. Instead, he falls into the unfortunately common category of people who were prescribed psych meds long term.
By the way, if you want to be all fucking, if you want to lib-cuck the fuck out, one of the reasons why, I've heard it said, I don't know if there's a fucking psych manual that lists this, but one of the reasons why they call addiction a disease is because addiction, there is a level of like personal culpability or moral failing that people will ascribe to people that have addiction issues, right? So the reason why one of the reasons why I've heard it's referred to like talk about it in terms of it being a disease is because it just makes it easier to separate it from yourself and then to deal with a thing and to view it that way, rather than like every time I give in to said addiction, it's a personal moral failing. I'm a bad person. And it's funny to watch her wrestle with this here because like, I was not an addict. He was just prescribed medication that he took too much of that caused injuries to him that he couldn't stop taking because of the medication. But he's not a goddamn addict. He's not an addict. It's like, okay, Jesus.
The unfortunately common category of people who were prescribed.
Destiny, in the emergency department, we call this the triad of crazy. If they check in with toxic mold exposure, fibromyalgia or lupus or chronic Lyme disease, we put the patient in a psych room. There's no way that you just auto psych room these people. I don't believe you, but
I would.
cute.
Fuck them.
Prescribed psych meds long term. And it's not like they were prescribed for no reason. Like severe, crippling, life-ruining depression, the kind where you can't get off the couch for 30 years, runs in my family. Okay.
Wait, I have not seen this before. Maybe we'll watch this afterwards. There's a video about the guy who gave Peterson
mold
his stem cell treatments.
It's not the kind of depression you can normally diet and exercise away. Like people like to say that. They like to look at depressed people and go, why don't you eat better and exercise more? And it's like, I'm in hell. Like, you think that's going to help?
Dang.
Although obviously that was before we knew about only eating meat, which did help.
Sorry, it's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny.
But
It's
in
not
a
funny.
really
Shut up!
complicated way. Like people didn't, who's going to guess that? So it wasn't something you could get rid of from cutting processed foods, for instance. Myself, my dad, my grandpa, my great-grandpa had it. My great-grandpa was left on a doorstep, so I can't imagine he came from a very stable family. Ugh. Okay, I have a Kleenex now. So where was I? Depression.
talking about
So
only eating meat.
when Dad started to be badly impacted by depression in the 90s, and he said he had it since he was a kid. He was impacted enough that he was having a hard time lecturing. He took an SSRI. We were told it was a genetic serotonin problem, and antidepressants were basically a vitamin for a serotonin deficiency, which is still what people are told, even though that has been completely debunked. And when I started having symptoms when I was a kid of OCD, suicidal thoughts, extreme anxiety, anger, my psychiatrist, who was assigned to kids with autoimmune disorders, like so many people with autoimmune disorders are on psych meds, put me on Celexa at the time, and that was eventually changed to Lexapro.
For the people who can't take this seriously enough to follow closely, is she arguing that this is all caused due to psych meds he stopped taking years ago? Yes, that and mold and autoimmune disease. It's always like, these people always have like autoimmune diseases are fun because they're, I'm going to say like they're not well understood. We don't really know how to cure them, and the immune system is just unbelievably fucking complex. So autoimmune diseases are like a really good kind of like hiding place for these kinds of people to claim they've got like random autoimmune disorders or diseases, and they're flaring up at random points in time, and they're brought on by very kind of like ambiguous things like stress, and which could be anything, and they come and go, and you can't like see them under a microscope. So it's always like shit like this, yeah.
And they helped a lot initially. I thought they saved my life for years, like a life from hellish depression, and so did Dad. 1 out of 5 or 6, like I said, people in the U.S. is on a psychiatric medication. They're not addicts. They don't even know these medications are dependence forming because their doctors say they're not. And the dangers surrounding these medications certainly aren't well known, even now.
Like I just
would she call a fucking person who drinks coffee an addict?
Maybe, but also I don't. And again, I don't know. I don't see every doctor, and I don't know every doctor, but like I'm aware of all of this, and I've heard this all the time, that these medications can be habit forming, that like weaning on and off of them or titrating up on them, weaning off of them is like a whole ass process. Like maybe there are some doctors that literally just don't mention this at all, but I feel like it's kind of an oversimplification, but whatever.
That's a large part of the reason for this video.
I feel like I took a addiction class. I'm pretty sure addiction, it has to be like debilitating at some level.
For it to be considered an addiction? Yeah, well, a lot of like DSM stuff is fuck, I'd have to go and read it, but a lot of your clinical criteria will be like unable to hold a job, unable to maintain relationships, unable to do like personal hygiene, unable, like stuff like that, yeah. What's the best book you've read in the past year? I'm trying to grow my political knowledge. I don't read anymore. I play eugenics, okay? And then I show up at my trial hearings when I have them once a year. Readings for suckers.
I don't want to talk about it really, but it's happening, and it's so bad that people need to know.
I know there are a lot of conspiracies in these circles, but real autoimmune diseases are triggered by stress, etc. They might be. I don't know, bro. Maybe not. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. I don't trust anything that says it's brought on by stress, but I mean, what the fuck do I know? Who knows? Maybe it is, maybe it doesn't. I'm going to be honest. I grew up with, I've shown pictures on stream before. You can probably find them on my Facebook. I had hardcore cystic acne, horrible acne growing up when I was in high school. And I feel like that shit came and went on the random. God would fucking, you know what they say, okay? The Targaryens give you acne and God flips a coin every day where he's like, I'm about to fuck your face up today or not. And that was it. And I tried every fucking thing, a billion different types of anti-acne cleaners that just dried your skin out with varying percentages of salicylic acid. I tried the whole put a towel on your pillow, clean towel on your pillow every night. I tried the whole stop drinking milk, which sucks. I loved milk and milky products. None of that shit worked. The only thing that came out when I think it was when I was in high school, it either came out or it came out of clinical trials, was the hardcore fuck you in the face shit, which was Accutane. But other than
Did
that,
work for you?
I never did it, but like
you never did
for the
it,
people
yeah.
that did
It's
it, Accutane was
huge.
that was it was like Ozempic for acne when Accutane came out. It was the first time where it was like, woo, that there's actually some shit, but now it's hardcore. There's some side effects and everything, but Accutane actually did shit. But I feel like I don't know.
Fix it, probably.
I felt like acne was random as fuck. One of the alopecia areata shit that I have or had, or I don't know, I guess it's forever, I don't know, that made Israel shave a thing into my face. When that hit, that was not a particularly stressful time in my life at all. And my alopecia went away during the most stressful time of my life, which has been this whole court case shit. Like, I don't have it at all anymore. And I would say that my day-to-day stress right now is very fucking high. Obviously, these are just anecdotal things, but I don't know. Maybe, I'm sure stress does affect it somehow. I just don't know how it comes out all the time. And I feel like it's fucking all random bullshit at the end of the day, but it's probably not. I don't know. Fuck.
Oh, because it's not.
Maybe I had mold somewhere that I just wasn't seeing. Who knows?
Yeah,
But it's
have you checked
happening,
the
and-
mold?
Yeah.
It's so bad that people need to know because it's not rare. And dependence forming, to clarify that, it's different than what people think of when they think of addiction. It means your brain changes to adapt to the medication. So if you pull it out, especially quickly, your brain can't handle it. It's not that you want to take it or enjoy taking it. It could be causing severe side effects. This is what happened with Dad. He started getting akathisia on clonazepam.
Wasn't that during your divorce? You said at the time that was probably because of stress related to that. If I said that, I made it up. No, I distinctly remember the first time I was in Toronto. I remember looking at the mirror in the hotel and I was like, if I always had some weird, I might have even typed something in the chat asking, but no, this was I don't know how to say way before my divorce, but it was definitely before like huge issues that would lead to my divorce cropped up. No, it was just random as fuck.
But pulling it out is impossible and it worsens it. It's a terrible situation. But this was
Who
6
is
years
quitting
ago,
these
you know?
meds cold turkey?
I don't know. If you do, you're going to get fucked though.
You're
I'm sure some
retarded.
people do, but I feel like most doctors would recommend against this. Destiny, you just have no goodwill towards the man, LOL. I have more goodwill and good faith towards all of my haters than any motherfuckers ever had towards me in my entire life, okay? I've said a million times, I give Jordan Peterson credit for saying good shit back in the day, that he used to be genuinely pretty insightful. We've listened to some of his videos. I'll even bring up every now and then. It's like, oh, I really like what he said here, or whatever. So, you know, think what you want. Be ass pain, but I'll give people credit where credit is due.
Anyway, apparently that differentiation between
Isn't it hella delayed because hair growth cycles are very long? So maybe you had a stressful event months and months earlier before it impacted you. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
but this was 6 years ago, you know? Anyway, apparently that differentiation between being on a psych med and being an addict is too complicated for most people, or at least for the people complaining on the internet. But I thought it should be addressed anyway. And I'm someone
Peterson is taking benzos for his depression. He was at some point, but I don't know. I don't even know if it was prescribed for his depression or if he was abusing them or what. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know anything about the coma thing that he did in Russia. I have no clue about that. I've heard, when I say I've heard, I remember this from a House episode. I don't know how true this is, but I know in that House episode with that one girl, there is apparently some medical treatment to get yourself so that you can break an alcohol addiction, and you can do it like overnight. But there's like a severe risk where if you do that nightly detox, they'll like put you in a coma for it, and you do that detox, that it reduces your sensitivity or feeling towards alcohol. And so if you're not careful in the future, if you try to drink again, you can just instantly kill yourself by overdosing on alcohol because you're just not aware that you're even getting drunk. I don't know if there's a similar thing for benzos or whatever. I literally have no idea if that coma thing that he did was a really bad idea. I just don't know. I'm not sure.
who honestly looks at classic addicts, say heroin, and thinks they must be suffering and it's people, or at least for the people complaining on the internet. But I thought it should be addressed anyway. And I'm someone who honestly looks at classic addicts, say heroin, and thinks they must be suffering and it's a complicated issue and I feel bad for them and there's more to it, in my opinion, than someone who just took drugs and is an addict. I think there's likely physiological issues at play for classic addictions. But Dad's not in that category.
Like, I understand normatively wanting to get away from the bad label of being an addict, but also when she's like heroin, like for heroin addicts, you know, like where there's, speaking of House. Fuck, I'm not going to remember it. There's a clinic thing where somebody asks him for something. I don't remember what it is, but he's like, these are dangerous and addicting or something like that. And he's like, well, technically everything I prescribe is, I guess. Like, Generally speaking, there's going to be formula differences between drugs that you get prescribed by a doctor and street drugs you do recreationally. Oftentimes, in my slightly educated / uneducated opinion, the biggest difference is usually dosing and like when you're doing them. Recreational dosing for drugs is going to be much, much, much larger than your therapeutic doses. And sometimes it's going to be slightly different formulas in terms of what you actually get prescribed to you. But in my opinion, I think you should be really careful not to draw this huge distinction between street drugs and pharmacy drugs. Like, oh, I would never do heroin and get addicted to heroin. Like, that's like a crazy heroin. Anyway, here's my hydrocodone or whatever that I got prescribed for my wisdom teeth removal. And like, these are totally different and I could never get addicted to these. Or like I could never get addicted to abusing like Adderall or whatever. It's not like I'm on the street doing like methamphetamine or something or speed or whatever, right? Like, this is a totally different thing because it comes from a pharmacy. This is just not true, right? You should just be mindful of that, I think.
Well, that's usually how people get addicted nowadays, right? It's through prescription drugs now.
For the opioid stuff, I think that was a huge issue, yeah. But I just heard, like, her reluctance here to be like, my dad doesn't have addiction issues. They're drug prescription issues. It's not like he's using fucking heroin.
Physiological issues at play for classic addictions. But dad's not in that category. So now, I guess I can talk about what akathisia felt like to me. And when dad recovers, he can talk about his experience if he wants to.
She sounds a little bit like sometimes on House they have like the victim's child come in and they like are just delusional about like what their father / parents were doing. That's kind of what this sounds a little bit like. She's just trying to make like excuses for his actions, etc.
Damn, hater, but true.
For me, and I don't want to like get into details more than that really, because it's too hard on my family. And I don't want to. So my experience with akathisia, for me, it hit for the first time 2 weeks after.
Oh my God, he found the meme.
About the looking cooler, yeah. The rest is true.
Isn't it addictive and dangerous?
Pretty much all the drugs I prescribe are addictive and dangerous. The only difference for this one is it's completely legal.
He told him to smoke cigarettes. Epic.
Holy shit.
Lexapro in 2015.
You're like House.
True.
And I'm like, you're the group of people.
The real question is, are you going to be a Wilson or are you going to be a, oh my God, fuck. The black guy.
Chase?
No, not Chase, not Dr. Cameron,
Is it W? Is it Foreman?
Foreman! Are you going to be a Wilson or a Foreman?
I'll be a Wilson.
Wow.
After going on a ketogenic diet that I kind of randomly went on when I went on an elimination diet that just happened to be ketogenic, I cut out almost everything, like meat and vegetables. And that put my depression into remission. My depression went away. I could feel it go away one day, about 3 months into the diet. And I thought, I'm never going to take another pill again. And I stopped everything. That depression, even on the Lexapro, was so debilitating that when I started doing dietary intervention, testing it out and removing things, I focused on my arthritis, which was crippling. I had joints replaced from it because I thought that was the easier thing to fix. And that there was no way dietary intervention was going to touch something as severe as that depression that runs in my family. That's how you know the Lexapro wasn't fixing the depression, because I felt the depression go away on the ketogenic paleo diet I was on, kind of like meat and vegetables and a bit of fruit, while on Lexapro.
I also, not to get into this fucking bullshit, like I feel like there are 4 big things. I've said this before. This is very boring. I think for a lot of health, it's very boring. But there's like 4 things. You've got your diet. Make sure you're getting a healthy balance of colorful foods. And you're hitting your macros, okay? Your micros and your macros, okay? You've got sleep. Make sure you're getting 8 hours of sleep a night if you can. You've got your exercise, whether that's your 10,000 steps, some form of light strength training. And then you've got your socialization. Make sure that you're out and talking to people and seeing people and like having social friend groups or whatever. That this is like a huge component. Like if any of these things start to fall dramatically out of balance, they're like you should probably try to bring these things into balance. If you have to take some kind of psychiatric medication or do some other huge intervention in your life, ideally you're doing those interventions, I think, so that you can try to bring these other 4 things into balance. So if you've got some like major depressive disorder and it's keeping you in bed all day and it's impacting your ability to get a healthy amount of sleep or impacting your ability to go and exercise, then like you're on your medication, but then you're trying to do those other things as well at the same time. If you, the problem that I have with people that hyper fixate on these elimination diets or like keto diets is that 1, keto and carnivore, none of these diets are automatically healthy for you. Just because you're arbitrarily restricting some macro doesn't mean that it's healthy. Like, you can have a keto diet that is just like the most unhealthy fucking shit in the universe.
Or you eat pork, right? Or whatever.
Sure, yeah, whatever is just not carb. Just because you're not eating a carb doesn't mean that it's automatically fucking healthy. Same thing with vegans. I used to know vegans in California that would do this. They would eat so much junk
Like
food
chips
and shit.
and shit.
Yeah, but it's like, oh well, it's a vegan diet, so like I'm good. You know, it's
an
healthier
Oreo.
than a meat diet. It's like not necessarily. And yeah, people will just do these like random dietary changes, like, oh shit, everything in my life is going to be fixed now. It's like, well, not necessarily. I don't know.
If anything, if you're on a diet, you should be more worried about what you're taking in because you're excluding obviously something else from like red meat or from meat in general.
Theoretically, yeah. There's just,
keep an
I
eye
think
out.
that everything in the U.S. when it comes to like dieting culture is just very, very, very toxic. Like, people are very quick to label like some food is good, some food is bad, and then if you restrict some arbitrary macro, that you're all of a sudden going to be healthy or whatever. We just have, I think we have a really, really bad relationship with food and dieting and everything in the U.S. But
paleo diet I was on, kind of like meat and vegetables and a bit of fruit, while on Lexapro. So I stopped Lexapro over a 2-week period, which is basically cold turkey.
what was her dose? 2 weeks. Damn. Okay. Usually, I don't know 100% what the dates are, but I feel like if you're, especially on higher dosages of these, you titrate. I don't know if you call it titrate when you go down in dose, but usually you'll wean off over like several weeks or months, unless you're maybe on a really, really low dose. But
which was crazy after taking it for 11 years. But this was 2015, and even now doctors will wean people down in 2 to 4 weeks. If you have a doctor that suggests you wean down off of a long-term psych
taper off
in 2 to 4 weeks, run. That can literally give people neurological injuries. And that's what happened to my family from pulling the medication out too fast. Although we were getting injured on the medication too. People need to hyperbolic taper, and I have links below to it, which is roughly a 10% reduction over every new dose. So if you go from 20 milligrams to 18 milligrams, then the next reduction is smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And sometimes that takes years. And sometimes people still like can't do it.
Okay, years sounds crazy.
I mean, it depends on the dose and what you're on, but years would probably be like the very, very, very far out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Developed insane sensitivities.
Is that really true? I've been off my Addy dose and I'm chilling. This is for like SSRIs or SNRIs. For amphetamines, you can basically quit that shit like cold turkey and you'll be fine.
To food, light, sound, stress, smells, chemicals, vitamins, supplements. Like, my body freaked out. This is why I eventually started only eating meat. That wasn't for fun. It was because I was insane. And getting to the meat diet took me 2 years to figure out. And I suffered quite a bit, even on the paleo and ketogenic diet during that 2.5 year period. So the akathisia and the bad psych med injury symptoms felt like I was overwhelmed with a sense of impending doom that was stronger than anything you can naturally feel. And
I know he's not a medical doctor, but isn't it extremely disqualifying that a clinical psychologist doesn't know basic stuff about psychiatric medication? Maybe. I mean, the thing is, we don't really know everything that happened with Jordan Peterson. Like, it sounds like there probably was some kind of addiction issue here, but like a lot of the stuff that he was dealing with probably wasn't stuff that he would just know. Like, I'm sure that a lot of this was brought on by the extreme public pressure of being a public figure and of dealing with all the hate and and everything else that went alongside that. I'm sure probably all played into this quite a bit. Also, keep in mind that it's really, really hard to have a good perspective on yourself, even if you are a super educated person. Like, there's a reason why we don't typically want doctors treating family and friends. There's a reason why there's a saying, a lawyer that represents himself in court has a fool for a lawyer and a client or something like that. Or as a fool not only for his lawyer but also for his client. Like, there's a reason why we have very, 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 very bad perspectives on ourselves. Or rather, I should even say, you have a bad perspective on yourself in time. Like, if you've ever sat down and journaled or thought about like some thoughts or feelings you've had about a thing, if you write them down and you look back on them like a week later, you can be shocked at even what your own feelings and perspectives were at the time. It's very hard to analyze yourself in the moment.
What the fuck was I thinking then, man?
Yeah.
I know that because, for instance,
when you're reading combined chat, can you tell if someone is linked to another commenter with a quote? I mean, I can when I read it. It won't show up on the combined chat on screen, but I didn't see that, yeah.
Last summer, I was in the hospital with my newborn.
Addiction and poor diet for a long time. Don't feel bad for him because he made the decision to put himself in the political spotlight for so long. Like, I mean, I feel bad for him on a medical level, but the thing that I don't like is that these people use all of their health conditions to drive like the worst, most toxic public messaging in the universe, right? Like all of us should be doing more to empower our healthcare system to deal with issues like that. But these people spend so much time undermining it. And then they go to the most fucking quack treatments in the world that they're recommending for other people, and then they fucking die on it, and it's like, the fuck is going on? I say this is really toxic. No, I don't want to go. I would say they're like, if we're lucky, I don't want to go there, but it's just not good, right? The Scott Adams guy was another example. The Scott Adams he did some ivermectin treatment for the first month of his cancer, and then he eventually switched off, but he died of like prostate cancer.
Isn't another issue like not Bill Gates, but the Apple guy,
Steve Jobs.
Like these people do these whack fucking treatments for like most of it, and then they'll swap over at the very end.
Too late, yeah.
Like 2 weeks, and it's like, well, they died from the treatment. You see? It's like, well, no, they probably died because they fucking were on the quack shit forever.
Yep. I don't know if any of doctors in the chat had this experience, but I've had several people. At first, I thought this was an exaggeration, but I've had several people that work in healthcare as doctors and as nurses tell me that the saddest thing that they saw over the COVID shit, 2020, 2021, was people who were dying. They were on respirators, so they were probably going to die, and it was them begging for the vaccine when it was way too late at that point. I think once you hit the respirator, it was like a 20 to 30% chance of survival at that point. Like you were probably going to die at that point. But like by that, like you're fucked at that point. Yeah.
As for instance, last summer I was in the hospital with my newborn, and we thought she was going to die, and that was the worst thing I've ever experienced. But the stress response I experienced during antidepressant withdrawal was almost hallucinogenic. Like it wasn't a natural stress response. That's, I guess, the best way I can describe it. It felt like I was falling into a volcano while being chased by a bear. Like I had the physical sensation sometimes that I was falling. And there were days when the only thing that felt soothing was wrapping my arms around me. This was like more of the akathisia symptoms, and rocking back and forth to try to calm down, or stamping my feet, or like shaking my hands. It felt like severe restless legs, but also in my arms and body. Everything I saw was pixelated. I couldn't see color properly. I felt like I was in the Upside Down in the show Stranger Things. I couldn't listen to music. Music hurt my ears. There were days I couldn't watch.
Like, I'm curious, like, how much of this is related to drug-related stuff? Like, I'm sympathetic to people that want to go outside of the pharmaceutical industry or outside of the medical stuff if everything has failed you. But, like, these people will either try nothing or barely try the medical stuff, and then they'll start doing crazy side effect stuff, and it's like, Jesus, I don't know.
Watch TV even. I couldn't lay in bed and watch TV. I just had to lay in a dark room and try to not panic. There wasn't a comfortable position I could get into. Light hurt my eyes, sound hurt my ears. My sense of smell was heightened. I sprouted full-on allergies to things I'd never been allergic to. At the time, I was so unaware that stopping Lexapro...
Is she lying about the autoimmune stuff? I mean, I don't know, but I would assume so, unfortunately. Like I said, there's always like a basket of things that go together. Metabolic issues, mitochondrial issues, ketogenic diet, autoimmune disease stuff. Like it's always just thrown together. And it's always like vague autoimmune diseases or autoimmune diseases that I don't even know if they actually exist or whatever. Like I think she's got one, SIRS. What does she call it? It might be a real one. I don't know if I believe any of it. Systemic inflammatory response syndrome is a severe, nonspecific inflammatory response to bodily insults like trauma, infection, burn, pancreatitis. It's always going to be these vague, undiagnosed or self-diagnosed things. Like, I don't know.
Full-on allergies to things I'd never been allergic to. At the time, I was so unaware that stopping Lexapro could cause these symptoms that I thought it was my autoimmune disorder somehow, or sudden extreme food sensitivities because I had limited my diet to a paleo keto diet, which obviously doesn't make any sense. You don't cut things out and then when you reintroduce them, you hallucinate. Like that's not a thing that happens. The main thing that flared up my neurological injury were foods and preservatives in foods. And then for Dad, his symptoms when they got really bad years ago and more recently were more severe than that. We're not on an all meat diet for fun. We're on an all meat diet because we've been left with extremely long lasting sensitivities and neurological injuries from these medications. And Dad's more sensitive than me. Maybe because he was older or on SSRIs longer, and because of the clonazepam for sure. So that's a brief description of my experience with akathisia and psych med withdrawal. It lasted 2.5 years for me, and it only started to go away when I switched from the paleo, dairy-free keto diet to only eating meat. So in the middle of that antidepressant...
Yeah, but I don't even know... Is there an episode where she talks about it more? in depth. Like, you can do all meat diets, and surprisingly, like they're okay. They seem to be okay from what I've seen. But you have to be eating like a huge variety of meats to do it. Like, you have to be eating like liver and like other stuff. It can't just be like steaks and sirloins all day. It has to be stuff that's giving you like a huge variety of micronutrients.
It's like the I don't know what the English word is, the muelage organs, yeah.
Withdrawal years ago now. After a period of not sleeping from a reaction to a preservative called sodium metabisulfite, Dad was prescribed clonazepam. And most of you guys know this. He didn't take it for fun. He took it because he hadn't slept in like 3 weeks. And I know that's true because I had we both ate the same thing that had sodium metabisulfite in it. And I had a similar response, but very horrifying, less severe though, where I threw up and then I didn't sleep well for about 3 weeks. And it was horrible, horrible. He was pale, near anaphylaxis, couldn't really breathe. That was one of those weird allergies that popped up that neither of us had before stopping medication. I didn't have food allergies before stopping those meds. Neither did he. Insomnia so severe you do not sleep can be part of having a psych med induced neural.
Wait, what is this? Hold on.
I take any vitamin. No, I eat beef and salt and water. That's it. And I never cheat. Ever. Nothing.
Soda, no wine.
I like this. I don't believe this. He's lying. That's just not for any of the reading that I did on the meat diet stuff. It can't just be like the basic shit that you find like at a McDonald's or whatever. It just can't be.
I drink club soda.
It's still water.
Oh, it's not. Look, there's club soda, which is really bubbly. Mm-hmm. There's Perrier, which is sort of bubbly. There's flat water, and there's hot water. Disclaimer number 2. I am not recommending this to anyone. However, I have had many, many people come up to me on the tour and say, I've lost like 100 pounds. I think, what? You lost 100 pounds?
I take any vitamins.
No.
Neurological injury. Glutamate skyrockets when GABA systems are damaged because GABA is what counteracts glutamate. And we don't really understand a lot of what's happening, but severe insomnia is discussed a lot amongst people with psych med injuries. I had a hard time sleeping for years. Even after my antidepressant withdrawal, neurological injury went away.
Does that mean that he doesn't cook with anything either? Like no butter?
I don't know. Who the fuck knows? I don't even believe what they said in there. So.
Lion diet. I still have a hard time sleeping. Like that's still my probably most sensitive area, although it's manageable. I'm fine. But I use white noise, a cold room, an eye mask, earplugs.
How do you or how can you try to get through to things like this? My mother also basically can't eat anything because she says it makes her sick or feel strange or get headaches and brain fog. What could really be going on?
Psychosis?
Well, I mean, there are real conditions or syndromes that we just don't know the underlying things of. Like, it might be something going on. Like, I don't know.
Something's still off. And I'm sure it's from the lingering damage SSRIs did. Dad's doctor prescribing him clonazepam.
I did keto and lost 100 pounds. It is a weight loss cheat code, but it is also not healthy, and you'll end up with deficiencies. I mean, you can do keto and not be, like, unhealthy. But, like, there's, like... I don't know how the chart works. I don't know what's the midwit position or what's not the midwit position. Like, in some ways, you can, like, the retard says it's calories in, calories out. The middle guy says you have to carefully balance everything. And then, like, the really intelligent guy says it's calories in, calories out. But you can do an inverse of this where the dumb guy says you have to balance everything, and then the midwit says it's just calories in, calories out, and then the really smart guy says you have to balance everything. Because, like, it kind of is only calories in, calories out, but there's a lot of things that make that easier or not easier to do. So, like, in my personal bullshit opinion, like, the reason why ketogenic diets are so good for losing weight is because so much really bad food is automatically not on the table for consideration if you're cutting out carbohydrates. Like, it just takes away so much dog shit food from you. I don't know. I don't believe I've seen any research or there's like some magic and when you burn ketones, it's cleaner and doesn't pollute the atmosphere and your cells are happy and they're all giving each other high fives as they pass by each other in the bloodstream. I don't know if I believe in that bullshit. I don't think there's ever been strong research for that. I think ketogenic diets are shown to help alleviate some conditions. Like if you're pre-diabetic, I think you can come back from that because you're not consuming a bunch of sugars and all that bullshit. But like, I don't think it's magic, but I think it just helps you not eat a lot of garbage bullshit food. Just like time restricted eating stuff. Like if you're not eating, if you have a 6-hour window to eat, it's not that it's magically doing something for you. It's that most of the shit that you eat early in the morning or most of the shit that you're eating past like 9 p.m. is probably fucking dog shit for you anyway. So having some arbitrary rule that makes it so you don't eat that is probably good.
For insomnia due to the undiagnosed SSRI withdrawal, or more aptly described as neurological injury, injured him further. And that's how he ended up with full-blown akathisia for about 2 years after realizing that clonazepam...
Oh, epilepsy as well. For some reason, I've heard that ketogenic diets can help epileptic people as well.
injured him further. And that's how he ended up with full-blown akathisia for about 2 years after realizing the clonazepam was causing issues after his doctor raised the dose of clonazepam when my mom was diagnosed with cancer and given 8 months to live.
Jesus.
All this stuff sounds crazy, dramatic, but over the last 6 years, I've talked to hundreds and read thousands of stories of people who experience injuries from psych medications that sound like that. And these aren't out of the ordinary for those people. I wouldn't go into all this detail, except I really do want you guys to understand that as horrible as this is, what's worse is this isn't rare. People who get injured by these don't have a voice, really. They're too sick to have a voice. But I've talked to and been sent stories from thousands of people that are stuck in this hell. SSRI prescriptions and benzodiazepine prescriptions long-term are super common. And the majority of people who take them, especially long-term, have withdrawal or neurological injury from them. It's almost always misdiagnosed as recurrence of their symptoms because doctors will use the same words to describe it.
I don't know what that means. The withdrawal is misdiagnosed as a recurrence of their symptoms. I feel like withdrawal things are going to be different than the symptoms that you were originally prescribed medication for, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
And then these poor people end up on 2 or 3 more medications to stabilize their worsening mental illness when it's really neurological damage from the medications themselves. Most psychiatrists are completely inequipped to handle this. They don't even know about this. They certainly aren't taught about this in medical school. Most people don't know it exists. When it happens in families, like a lot of the time these people are outcast because people can't understand why they're acting the way they're acting.
Like, I don't know about this. It would be interesting if these people actually brought on real doctors to chat with instead of like the 1% rebels who disagree with everybody else in the fucking medical community, because I feel like this is a thing that a lot of doctors do talk about. And how much better would it be for society if people like Joe Rogan or Jordan Peterson did bring on real doctors that had real training, that were standing in line with 98% of the medical community to talk about the issues or danger. Like, this is one of those areas where Joe Rogan and them could be a really great resource for the average person to listen to these things being spoken about. But instead you just bring on these renegade doctors, oftentimes who have been barred from practice or are selling their own bullshit specialized treatment, and then they're going to tell you that, like, did you know that nobody in medical school learns about the endocrine system? None of these guys even know that hormones can affect the body. Did you know that in psychiatric, none of these guys even know about withdrawal? They don't know that if they prescribe these drugs that they could have bad side effects. Nobody even knows about this. Like, okay, Jesus, really? Nobody? I feel like this is shit they talk about literally all the fucking time, but okay.
And I'll be the first to say, when I first took a Celexa, it felt like it worked. I felt my shoulders drop. I felt like I could breathe again deeply. I stopped panicking. I stopped having suicidal thoughts, and my OCD disappeared. That was when I was 11, but I remember it vividly. And I remember how I felt like before I started taking them. But by the time I was 13, I was certainly still depressed. I stayed on them because I thought, oh my gosh, if this is how I feel with medication, imagine how bad it is without it. But what ended up happening is I got more and more mentally ill over the years, was diagnosed with bipolar type 2, had a seizure from Wellbutrin when that was added in, suffered from severe restless legs that was really intolerable, that I thought was part of having an autoimmune disorder or something. I didn't know it was associated with SSRIs. And I just ended up getting worse and worse and worse. I just always thought I would be even worse without the medications. That wasn't true. What I needed to focus on was mitochondrial health, really. So I'm going to get into
What? Okay.
to that now.
My organelles, dog. My organelles.
Mitochondrial dysfunction is like ketogenic research. In 5 years, it's going to be mainstream.
Yeah.
Like ketogenic therapies are moving into the mainstream. Thank goodness. There's mounting evidence that dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, long COVID, and those weird chronic diseases that people get that are hard to treat and kind of fringe, but most definitely exist, like chronic fatigue, Lyme, POTS, MCAS, like those kind of things, that have this large array of seemingly unrelated symptoms that include things like chronic fatigue, depression, brain fog, anxiety, chronic pain, lightheadedness, weird chemical and food sensitivities are due to mitochondrial dysfunction, because that impacts your whole body and your brain. 10% of us by weight are mitochondria. So when I talk about neurological injuries, what I'm talking about in your brain, 10% of us by weight are mitochondria.
Is that true? It could be true. That just sounds crazy to me. Wait, show me link me that. I just don't believe that, but it might be true. I don't have a basis for thinking it's not true. I would imagine that, like, I feel like 95% of our weight would be like the cytoplasms of cells, like just all the whatever that stuff that's floating in there for nutrients for floating organelles or whatever. Are we 10% mitochondria? I need to see this. What percentage? Maybe mitochondria is denser than the other organelles. Then one day, while casually browsing through the text of my biology classroom, I came across the fact that forever changed the way I felt about this little organelle. Mitochondria amount to approximately 10% of an adult human's body weight. I can't believe that. There's no shot. I don't believe it. I don't even know if I would believe it if... I don't know if I would believe it if I saw it in a textbook. That's just unbelievable to me. Hold on. Their source for this is a book called Power, Sex, Suicide, Mitochondria and the Meaning of Life from Lane N. You know what? Fuck it. I'm bored. Let's look this up. Hold on. We're going to go find this. I want to see this now. Mitochondria amount to approximately 10% of an adult human's body weight. I will be honest. I will say that the reason why this sounds unbelievable to me is because every time I see like a thing of the cell, it always looks like this. And like here's the nucleus, and all of your organelles are like, here's like this, your endoplasmic reticulum, here's like some ribosomes, here's your mitochondria. It looks like that. But maybe if it's the case that you're like, here's your mitochondria actually, yeah, maybe I can believe that. I want to look this up though. Hold on. Okay, what is this book? Power, Sex, Suicide, Mitochondria, and the Meaning of Life. If it weren't for mitochondria, scientists argue, we'd all still be single-cell bacteria. By Nick Lane. What do they cite for that 10% number? He's a British biochemist and writer. He's a professor of evolutionary biochemistry. His books have won several awards. He's the author of popular science books and many articles on the origin of life, hydrothermal vents, evolution, and cellular biology. He won the 2015 Biochemical Society Award and the Michael Faraday Prize in 2016. Kindle, available instantly. Hold on. Oh, okay, we got a book. Hold on. It's 10% mitochondria, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power. True. Destiny, don't take the RNA pill. What is the RNA pill? The idea that DNA has little to do with our life and that RNA is actually in control of everything? Wait, I don't see 10% here. Wait, where in this book does that 10% thing? Oh, wait, they should have a page number, right? Hold on. They don't have a page number. Maybe Control F, maybe it hasn't loaded. Oh, it's 10%. Hold on. Wait, I don't see this either. I Control F 10. Maybe it's TEN? Find me in this book here. This 10% thing. Let me search for weight. Oh, hold on. I found one sec. What is this? can numerous the exact number depending on the metabolic demand of that particular cell. Metabolically active cells, such as those in the liver, kidneys, muscles, and brain, have hundreds or thousands of mitochondria, making up some 40% of the cytoplasm. The egg cell, or oocyte, is exceptional. It passes on around 100,000 mitochondria to the next generation. In contrast, blood cells and skin cells have very few or none at all. Sperm usually have fewer than 2. All in all, there are said to be 10 million billion mitochondria in an adult human, which together constitute about 10% of our body weight. I guess this is just his estimate, I guess. Page 385. Wait, I was on page 17. Hold on, what's on page 385? Hold on. Wait, on the... Is it page 385 in the document or page 385 in the book?
Has Extra Emily responded to the allegations?
It's pretty bad. Hold on. $385 in the document.
What are the allegations? That she view bots.
$385 in the document. Page 355 in the book? I don't see that in here. It's page 47 of the PDF only file. Yeah, I already saw that. Fuck. He doesn't cite anything for that. Maybe that's just his estimate? Okay, whatever. We'll take it. We'll take it as true for now, I guess. Until we do our own research on it.
Do your own research.
Our own study.
Seemingly unrelated symptoms that include things like chronic fatigue, depression, brain fog, anxiety, chronic pain, lightheadedness, weird chemical...
No way it's true. It just feels very not true to me, but I mean, I don't really have any way of... It's not like I have an intuitive basis for what weighs what in the cell, I guess.
And food sensitivities are due to mitochondrial dysfunction, because that impacts your whole body and your brain. 10% of us by weight are mitochondria. So when I talk about neurological injuries, what I'm talking about is mitochondrial dysfunction that manifests like a neurological injury. This is pretty cutting edge research, and I've linked papers below so people can read more about it. In the previous kind of announcement videos, I talked about how whatever was going on with Dad had been diagnosed as SIRS. That's still true. He definitely has SIRS. Otherwise, the mold exposures he experienced wouldn't have caused neurological symptoms. That's chronic inflammatory response syndrome, and is almost like mold-induced illness. I think that the genetic predisposition to mold illness is likely what caused the severe mental illness that ran in my family that was then treated with medication. I talked about how it felt spiritual, and it does. It's been hellish. I know, like, other people going through really stressful periods with sick families, like, know what those periods of time are like, and like, it's hellish. My daughter last summer was hospitalized the same day as my dad. That seems odd. There's a biological basis for what's going on with Dad, and we finally know what it is, but I do think there was a spiritual element, or is. I'd also say if mentally ill, desperate people are given medication that's supposed to ease their suffering that ends up nearly killing them when they stop, or even while they're on it, and then they can't stop, I would say that's evil.
There's also this weird thing. It's kind of funny because you're seeing this play out, like, actually, like, word for word. Sometimes people make this claim that, you know, more of us are dying of cancer. And then one of the counter retorts to this is like, yeah, sure, and we have more chronic illness. But in some ways, that's a good thing, because it used to be that, like, people suffering, like, type 1 diabetes is an example, right? Like, people suffer with type 1 diabetes chronically more than they ever did in the past. But that's because in the past, if you had this, you would just die, you know? So
yeah, you wouldn't even know why. You'd just be dead.
Now, to caveat, there are some forms of cancers that are rising for even young people. I don't remember which one was brought up, but there was at least one.
Cancer, I think?
Maybe. It might be rectal cancers. There's some that are brought up that are rising for young people, so that's not the explanation for that there. But just to bring that up, because it's funny, because the thing that she's talking about, that like, well, this medication is really bad because it has these horrible side effects. It sounds like she's saying she was suicidal at a really early age and she took this medication and it helped. So, like, it could have been that she was literally going to kill herself or die at an earlier age, and now she's alive, and now she might be dealing with side effects related to weaning off the medication, but it doesn't necessarily make the medication bad or evil. So, I don't know. Colorectal cancer, gotcha.
Have you guys heard of post-SSRI sexual dysfunction? It's way more common than people realize too. And podcasters are starting to talk about it, which is good.
Like, this is another thing, and again, this might just be because all the girls I talk to are horny, or because of my age class, or what, but like, sexual side effects related to SSRIs are one of the like most talked about things, at least for young people, when it comes to taking any of these medications. And sometimes I feel like these people are just retreading the oldest and most well-tread, I guess, ground that is like, yeah, everybody talks about this. Everybody, like, welcome to the modern discussion on SSRIs and these types of medications.
But it causes seemingly permanent genital numbness and anhedonia.
I don't know necessarily about that, but
So emotional numbness.
Genital what?
It
numbness.
makes people suicidal
numbness.
because they can't feel anything. And that can happen from short-term use to some people of these medications. Finasteride's one of them, SSRIs, any medication that can cause things like that, akathisia, PSSD, that level of suffering is evil, I think.
Okay.
I do think our family has been attacked spiritually because I cannot understand the level of suffering.
you also have to keep in mind, like, well, what, like, at an epidemiological level, what are the percentages of people that are having these side effects? Because that's important to consider too, right? Like, if it's a rare side effect, or even if it's semi-common, 10, 20, 30, 40%, 40% would be quite common. Like, you have to weigh that against the whatever disease you're treating too, right? Whatever.
That I've been through, let alone my dad's been through, and my whole family, without it making more sense through a spiritual lens. Oh, thank God I'm a Christian.
Okay.
Anyway, away from the spiritual part. So the association between CIRS, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, or basically mold-induced illness, ketogenic diets, like the carnivore diet, and psych med-induced neurological injury. How do they connect together? Mitochondria. Mold causes mitochondria to hibernate to protect themselves and shut down.
Is that true? I've never heard that before, but okay.
They connect together, mitochondria. Mold causes mitochondria to hibernate to protect themselves and shut down, which causes this weird array of symptoms I talked about. Psych meds cause mitochondrial dysfunction. I've linked the papers that manifest as a neurological injury. And a ketogenic diet gives mitochondria an alternate fuel that helps them heal and helps them work, which is why it's so massively useful and why we're just eating meat. I'm going to put this video out and people are going to tell me I'm reaching, but this is now well-established research. Mitochondrial dysfunction research is blowing up right now. I'm going to talk about it more on my podcast because it's promising. It's really promising. And understanding what's wrong is really the only way to figure out health problems. Like I said, there are papers linked below, so you don't have to just take my word for it.
Thank God.
And I would have made this video shorter, but I wanted to address everything I could. In a fit of frustration and anger at the situation and how unfair it is, I put a website together that I linked below called prescribed-harm.com, which goes into the research about psychiatric medications and what they're doing to people. And if you're watching this video and have been injured by these medications, you can write your story on that website too, and I'll post it. Or maybe that website will be useful to explain to family members what's going on.
Thank God.
Or doctors who don't usually know what's going on.
Fucking
or leave a
retarded
comment below to show
bro.
people this isn't uncommon. These injured people are so hurt, like I said, that they can't usually have their story told because they're just trying to survive. And they're basically disabled and traumatized and gaslit and misdiagnosed.
Jesus. All the words.
I'm going to be jumping up and down for a while, probably until this is dealt with properly, about the dangers these medications produce, until things are changed, or at least until it's common knowledge that people need to be aware of this before they start the medication. Pharmaceutical companies rename these neurological injuries and psych med side effects and use language to hide the symptoms. Like, there's malevolence here too. Like, calling akathisia restlessness may cause restlessness. Calling akathisia restlessness makes me want to hurt people. And maybe that's pregnancy hormones talking, but it's criminal, really. There are no long-term studies on these medications, yet most people take them for more than 5 years and are told that they're safe, or at least safer than their original mental issue. Actually, there's one long-term study, and you know what it shows? That 60% of people have a recurrence of symptoms. That's what they got from the study, and need to go back on the medication. You know what's stupid about that?
What?
They don't differentiate between recurrence and withdrawal. And withdrawal is almost always misdiagnosed as recurrence, even though the array of symptoms with withdrawal is generally way more severe and includes pain syndromes and sensitivities and new symptoms. They're just like, well, you just got worse. Nope. The industry is so crooked. It's a travesty that now that there's actual solid research linking ketogenic diets to improving mental disorders, treating them, giving the brain the energy that it needs to not be sick. I linked metabolicminds.com below, which is a great site about ketogenic diets and mental illnesses, run by scientists. And that diet, or the carnivore diet, should be first-line treatment for mental illness, given they will work and actually treat the energy deficiency that's causing mental illness, but especially because these psych medications cause mitochondrial dysfunction long-term that manifests as a neurological injury.
And make you susceptible to mold injuries.
And is very difficult, if not impossible, to treat without
Peterson,
time and lifestyle
he's dead as
interventions like
fuck.
ketogenic diet, sun, sleep, no stress, like serious stress regulation. So to end this rant, and apologies, I can see it's been 33 minutes, but I really did want to cover everything because it's a lot. So prayers are much appreciated still.
No prayers for you.
All this suffering we hope leads to more awareness so other people can avoid this. Withdrawal is a silly name for what happens to people, because withdrawal should be solved by the original medication, right? If you're in withdrawal, you go back on the original medication, you're not in withdrawal anymore, all your symptoms go away.
Oh, shrimp-a-lazz! Shrimp-a-lazz!
Still eating meat, nothing but meat.
Who knows? Who knows?
Mainlining fucking beef tartare.
Here, this is a neurological injury. I don't want to promise another update. I'm grumpy and pregnant, and I don't want to be on the hook publicly for another update. I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to talk about mitochondrial dysfunction and psych med, this travesty of psych med injuries. But I've been barely surviving with the pregnancy hormones and stress. Thank goodness for my husband, who's just a rock. But I'm not sleeping well. I wasn't eating well. At least this week, it appears I'm not crying constantly. Being in the second trimester probably helps that. But that's it for updates about Dad until he's back. Now that we know it's a neurological injury and we know we need time for him to recover.
Now we've got it.
And we can speed it up by not provoking a reaction. Like I said, prayers are much appreciated for my dad and for my brother and my mom and me, and all the people helping us to help him through this. So there's light at the end of the tunnel, but people need to know these medications and what they can do to people, especially long-term, but not just long-term. And they need to be aware of these before taking a medication. So check out everything I've linked below
Prozac
if you
and
want.
every
I spent a decent amount of time trying to find good articles. And my recent study that I posted that's being done on the carnivore versus keto versus standard American diet and rheumatoid arthritis and IBD, run by a research team, is linked below, and prescribe-harm.com for more information on how to safely taper to avoid neurological injury and to read other people's experiences. So thank you guys for listening and thank you for the support. And I'm really sorry for anyone else damaged by these horrible medications, but there's hope. You can recover with time. Ketogenic diets are unbelievably helpful. And it's about avoiding making it worse because bodies and brains do want to recover. So thanks for listening, and I'll see some of you on my podcast.
I don't think I had any happiness at all for 3 years, pretty much.
And
it was dire. Well, my wife, she spent a year hovering on the brink of death in a variety of different ways. Before that, my daughter had catastrophic health problems, which have mostly resolved. And then I got extremely ill. So we've been in, and at the same time, we were facing social pressure of like an unparalleled magnitude, people trying to, bring this enterprise to a halt, I suppose, if that's probably the right way to think about it. Most of that time, I was hoping that I would die. I've been grateful for the good things that have happened to me, but I don't think I was grateful enough before just for mundane normality,
Yeah.
And, you think you don't have everything you could have, and perhaps that's true, but if you can sit down and breathe, there's lots of people who don't have that.
Yeah.
Shrimp-a-lazz.
He's dead. He's dead. I don't mean like as a threat. I'm just speculating.
What are you going to do?
Nothing. Don't eat meat. Well, I mean, I guess you could say don't only eat meat and benzos.
Bro thinks he's destined. I've never seen him total stream like this. Am I crazy? What is this? Chill stream, debate prep, and other stuff. Listen.
That's a joke.
Is it?
I hope so, because that is very funny otherwise.
It doesn't have the shitpost title. Kick streamer Scrubs gets dragged out of store for being drunk. Oh no, bruh.
Alright, you gotta get up. Gotta get up, Scrubs. Gotta get up.
Ooh, that's the fentanyl.
Can't be filming in the store, and he's got to get out of here. Or I'm gonna call the cops, and the cops are gonna go. Let's go. I'm gonna drag him out. It's either you drag him or pick him up, put him over your shoulder, or I'm gonna take him right out of here.
All right, hold on.
Let's go. You're in the store. Let's go, Pop. You're high, you're drunk, whatever it is. I don't care. It's fine. It's your problem. Out of the store.
All right, sure.
I got you, buddy, but you gotta get out of the store.
I want cops.
Buddy, get out the store and drag out.
No, look at my shirt.
Buddy,
I'm concussed.
I see you fell. You bunched your lip.
No, nigga.
First of all, don't call me nigga. I tell you.
Hey, New York? What a king.
I just got
let's go.
I want cops.
Pick yourself up and
He's
stop
gonna drag
acting
you
like
out of
a
here,
idiot.
Scrubs.
I'm telling you right now, pick yourself up.
Gonna drag you out of here, dude.
Later. See ya. Later. Let's go. Woof woof.
Ooh, the carpet. That's going to be rough. That's a lot more friction.
He's got
Oh, he got it.
He's got him.
Ooh, that carpet makes it tough, though.
He wants his ass out.
He's got him.
Your buddy's got your phone.
I got your phone
He's
right
got
here.
your phone. He has it.
I got your phone. No, come on. Don't go back in there.
He has
He's
your
back
phone.
in.
He has
No,
your
don't
phone.
go back in there.
Stop playing around. He has your phone. Act like a grown-up.
Don't go back in there.
Get on my shirt.
I got you. Call the cop. Call him.
I will. Goodbye.
Don't go back in there.
Jeez.
Fuck you.
Wow.
Shrimp
That was like
Mr.
Mr. Mooten's stream last night. Moo, I heard you had a few drinks in you, huh?
Yeah, one of us has got a stream. Am I right, Dan?
Did the Undertaker come from the 10th floor and body slam someone?
No, the Undertaker did not show up.
Ooh. He is carrying AE? Yeah. Well, what do you want me to say? He is a excellent streamer. The best, some might say. Undertaker's dead? No shot. Is he really?
What? He died when he got thrown through the steel cage or whatever.
No, you idiot. He threw mankind off of Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, that's
You
not when he
fool.
died. It was when he got thrown off of Hell in a Cell, you idiot.
He didn't get thrown off. That's the problem.
Then why do you think he's dead?
He's not.
He's not dead. He's still alive.
Shrimp ass.
Liar. I can't believe they just lie like that.
That's crazy.
The character is dead.
Oh.
Well, what about if they came out with a drug to...
Why didn't you stream today, Dan?
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to performance review your ass. I'm gonna
I'll
be
tell
honest,
you why.
man.
I'll tell you why.
Okay,
I said I was
why?
gonna, because I was like, all right, I'll go live, and they said no, it's movies, and I said, oh, okay.
Ignore them.
Yeah, but then you do that, and then you get fucking. I'm not gonna say names.
DRT0, go ahead.
I'm not gonna say names.
say it.
It's a movie conductor names. They cabal together, and then they start a fucking Reddit little thread with a little manifesto about how they want to do that, and I just didn't want to fucking deal with it. To be $1.50 with you, I didn't. So I fucking power washed my backyard instead. Fuck them.
Well, that's a take. That's a take.
He has a take.
I don't mind streaming. I mind a bunch of fucking people bitching and moaning that they want to watch like Leon the Professional again, undisturbed.
Really? Is that what they were watching,
Well,
Dan?
it's Sunday. We watch Leon the Professional. Everybody knows that's what we do here.
It is what it is. What are you gonna say? Nothing. Nothing to be said at all. So, how's your day going?
Great. Let me get my Red Bull. One
Any-
second. My daily Red Bull. My one Red Bull, by the way.
Why are you only allowed to have one? You can have two.
You can't.
Why?
Unhealthy for him.
Really? I have 2 coffees a day.
Yeah, but, you know, chemicals.
Dude, I got this new power washer, and it does frighten me a little bit. I'm gonna say that because I got the most powerful one I could buy on Amazon, and before with the electric one, I wouldn't really care too much. I was a little frisky, like I might like accidentally I'd use it to get the dirt
I
off
hope you
my
power
leg.
wash your toe off.
Yeah, exactly. This new one, it's 4,400 psi, 4 gallons per minute. This shit, it will fucking strip the fucking paint off your mom's asshole. I don't know why your mom's asshole would have paint, but it's a lot. I think it's about it is a gas powered one. I was tired of the electric ones. It'll
Tomorrow's
kill?
your performance review, Dan.
Okay.
I'm gonna
I'll be
need you
there.
in a suit.
In a suit? No.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I will show up.
Yeah, you're fired.
I will show up. I'm happy to be reviewed. I will say that a lot of my
Do you have a
value
meeting tomorrow?
Probably, but I will say I will say this, a lot of my value isn't just on-screen talent. It's the behind the scenes management that I put together for the stream, right? You know, like that stuff has additive value. You know, I'm doing business meetings. I'm talking with people, setting up play dates for you. All of these things are incredibly valuable in the
play
scope.
date have you set up?
Well, you haven't gone to it yet, so
okay.
I'm setting them up.
Wait, what's he setting up? I missed it.
Play date for Mr. Moon.
For what?
He's not. He's lying.
For a stream or?
Yeah, for stream.
I have set up 2 play dates. IRI is going to come on, and so is.
I like talking to IRI.
Box.
I was gonna say. Oh fuck! Hold on.
Are you surprised that
What happened with extra Emily? Is she just not going to talk about that? She needs to go. I feel like the episode of The Sopranos.
Well, technically, nothing was proven. It was just that a website was open, right?
No. When you say, it reminds me of the scene in Sopranos where you say, "Well, he can't be in our social club no more," and then another guy say, "In our social club, he's got to go." That's how I feel about extra Emily.
Oh, really? And what was that about?
That was about a
guy being
excommunicated.
For what?
Well, it wasn't necessarily gay.
So you're homophobic?
I'm not.
Yes
I'm
or
just
no?
saying what happened in
Yes
the show.
or no? That's what happened in the
Yes
show.
or no?
It was about homophobia,
No,
right?
Then no.
Really? It wasn't because he was gay?
Really?
Oh, well, they may have been homophobic.
Who's they?
personally.
Oh.
The Italians. Your people, Mr. Mitten.
So
Your
now the truth comes out.
people. Well, what's the truth? The Italians?
You're homophobic.
In
Dustin,
No,
are you surprised that
Italian.
Hassan didn't pick up Contra's offer to debate? Like, why would he pick up a debate with Mockler and not Contra? I don't know if Hassan would debate Contra or not, but if he would debate her, it's because he wants access to her audience or platform. But I don't know how much of an audience or platform Contra has at the moment that Hassan feels like he could convert, or compared to his platform at the moment. And then if he would avoid it, it's because he feels like he wouldn't be able to win the argument, would be why he would avoid it.
I just can't believe that Contra hasn't deleted those tweets yet.
True.
That's
She's
shocking.
gotten braver.
Shocking
She's a queen.
stuff.
Did you see?
Oh, here it is. See? Look, there it is. Poggy. Dan, do we have an issue here? I see. I'm telling you, Mr. Mitten.
Is it Poggy or Paggy? Why does everybody keep changing
It's
it?
Podgy.
It's Paggy.
Whatever. Stay in your fucking lane, movie streamers. Anyway, go ahead, Steven.
That was it.
No, you were about to say something else.
I don't think so. Thoughts on the Young Turks now trying to clean up Turkey's image from these recent Israeli talking points? Are they talking about Turkey? Usually, I feel like Turkish people just don't talk about Turkey because they know that that shit's fucked.
We don't talk about Turkey.
Then why did Hassan do the H3 one? Because Ethan has a much larger platform than ContraPoints. And they had they also had like a podcast with each other, and it was a huge call out that was being like amplified by other places on the internet. So I feel like it kind of sort of, but that took like a year of bullying to get him to do that one too.
Also, he got destroyed in that. I wish a little bit shocking how bad he is at that debate. That was not good. Not a good showing.
Well, because you can't do critical confrontation. It's all like that last one we just watched today was just dick slurps marathons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jesus. Clavicular's friend Drago passed out drunk after a club night. Bro, these guys
Is this
are...
the one with the fake hair?
Is that, these guys are going crazy.
I don't know how the fuck these people can exist after you get exposed to have fake hair.
Yo, what are you doing?
Does nobody here have like an older brother or older friend to help these guys not be crazy? Jesus.
This is what you do, bro. The more extreme, the more memes. It's even in the name. Extreme. Extreme.
Boo.
Not even a little bit? I thought it was all right. Well, I mean, you know. Yep.
Okay. What's going on with this guy?
No, not a whole nother ass fucking video. No.
What do you want to talk about?
Anything. We can have a conversation. I refuse to sit here and watch some fucking slop.
I'll watch a video with you, Steve.
Oh, you fucking sellout.
Well, if you have something you want to talk about, you can talk about it. I don't know who this guy is. This is
Okay,
apparently
hold
the
on.
guy who gave Jordan Peterson his stem cell treatment. I've never heard of this guy before. But go ahead. What do you want to chat about?
Now you're putting me on the fucking spot.
No,
See,
you
what,
put
you're
yourself on the spot.
You're gonna get sued for watching this video with no critical commentary.
This is a deal con, the stem cell doctor to the stars.
Kim and Khloe Kardashian had stem cells done with me in Mexico. All the headlines are saying that these are...
You know it's not good when you start off with like, oh, you went to that doctor. It's right. Yeah, I just got back from Tijuana. I just got back from
Apparently,
Mexico.
though, for teeth shit, apparently Mexico, that's the place to go. In Colombia, you want like dental surgery or like root canals or something, apparently you could save a fuck ton. Like,
My
if it was
guess
gonna
is
be like,
probably because it's like relatively solved and trite. Like these are probably, or trivial, these are probably simple procedures. So going to a shrimp allows cheap place is probably good, right?
yeah, but it's like not insignificant savings. Like you might pay like 20K here for a huge job. You could pay like 2K in Colombia.
Sure.
Plus the flight.
Welcome to Colombia.
legal in the U.S. This is not quite true.
Here he is with Gary Lynham, a convicted felon who was sentenced to 4 years in jail for drug trafficking and, upon release, reinvented himself as a biohacker.
Yeah, you can't do drugs anymore?
Under the brand Human Garage. In this video, they're talking about Khan's signature stem cell treatment.
Like for me, they're expensive to just purchase from the manufacturer. So these are what are called Dazawa mu cells, which is from the Japanese scientist who discovered them and the company that owns the patent. And so we work directly with that scientist to get these cells, but they are pricey.
That brown vial, which looks to me like a horse suppository, is what Khan's reel identifies as stem cells, which means that it's some sort of variation of the brew that almost killed the functional medicine doctor Mark Hyman.
Because I almost died.
Not only that, but when I showed the picture to the company that invented the specific type of stem cells that Khan promotes, they were unequivocal. If Khan was calling these Muse stem cells, then they were counterfeits. Writing,
"This is certainly not a licensed MCI product. MCI DMC have never been sold or stored in tubes comparable to what the nurse is holding."
And wait, it gets worse because it doesn't stop at defrauding random biohackers. I cross-referenced the claims about the vials in Kim and Khloe Kardashian's social media posts, and astoundingly, even the cells they received were counterfeits.
I know this product. It is a discontinued product. It's not from us. It has never been from MCI.
In other words, a smoking gun for fraud. Over the last 2 months, I've dug into the background of the world's most visible stem cell huckster. According to the records I've uncovered, he started out as a sports medicine doctor who worked his way up, selling weight loss drugs on online portals, through advising on, quote, science-based supplements on bodybuilding websites, to running fly-by-night stem cell clinics on 4 continents. And he's making a lot of people sick. For this report, I've spoken with patients who barely survived his treatments.
Whereas I was, in the grain.
Holy shit, did it do that to his voice? It's Hassan! After he wakes up, he's getting he's doing his interview.
Being wheeled in, I had a chance to speak to him. On the fly, right before I went in for the procedure, he changed the protocol.
I've combed through podcasts of wellness influencers who spilled the tea.
So I called Dr. Khan. I'm like, hey, something's wrong with Katrina. She doesn't sound right. And he's like, yeah, well, it's kind of normal, this and that. There's an immune response, 24 to 48 hours. I said, yeah, I don't think so. I said, she's going sepsis.
And I can't make this up. Even in court records in the legal case between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively.
And I just wasn't sure what the results would be. Because like everyone else, you see this stuff on social media and you're just not sure what's real and what's not.
He said he got stem cells in Cabo, so that's probably why he has an infection now.
We're going to inject stem cells in there to calm down the inflammation.
You got a janky-ass procedure from a strange-ass doctor in Mexico. You get what you paid for.
All the evidence points in the same direction. Something is rotten at the stem cell clinic to the stars. Or to put it another way, if 3 celebrities got serious infections at his clinic, how many ordinary people had similar outcomes, but their stories never reached the light of day? This is the 3rd video in a series on regenerative medicine, an area of science that claims to be on the verge of reversing just about any human ailment with a straightforward injection of stem cell ambrosia. It's about the lengths that people will go to pursue miracle treatments and the hucksters and charlatans who are more than willing to take advantage of the unregulated market. In my first video, Why Are the
What?
You know that fucking dude, the Brian, whatever the fuck his name is, the guy who like spends his entire life
trying not to die or whatever? Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be so funny. I mean, like I don't know how to phrase this in a way. Like
when he does,
when he gets hit by a truck, right? It's like you did all this work, and nah, bro, got hit by a truck. I'm just saying that would be funny, a little bit.
Fucked up.
Because it's funny because he spends all this time and money not to die, and then he gets hit by a truck.
No one's laughing right now.
You wouldn't laugh at that?
I wouldn't.
Really?
No.
You wouldn't at all? You wouldn't even make
I think that would be tragic.
A tweet.
Definitely
I'd
not.
make a tweet.
Yeah,
What
tweet
I
him
would
saying
say-
they were sorry that he died.
Yes.
It's tragic.
Yes. It's a tragedy, Dan.
Yes.
I would post the duck, the smoking duck.
And then I would
classic.
unfollow you.
Yeah. And we'd criticize you.
Mm-hmm.
showed how Mark Hyman covered up the fact that he almost died from an infection after he got an injection at Khan's clinic. In the second video, I examined the case of Jordan Peterson, who almost died after trying a series of unapproved medical treatments from biohacking hucksters and shady doctors on at least 3 continents.
True.
Now, if you're the kind of person who likes to consume things in order, you might want to go check those out first. Then again, maybe you just want to go to the heart of the stem cell grift, in which case, you're in the right place. In this video, you'll discover who Adil Khan really is, whether he's allowed to practice medicine at all, and the troubling pattern of sepsis that follows his treatments. Then, just when you think it is all making sense, I'm going to open up the...
What is that? Sepsis is just your immune system is going crazy after an infection or something, right? And it can kill you?
Let me look it up. Is a life-threatening medical emergency caused by body's overreaction to an infection leading to organ dysfunction.
Yeah, okay.
Into the entire field of stem cell medicine when I expose a whole black market of fake and counterfeit stem cells. That underground economy allows shady clinics to sell counterfeit stem cells for tens of thousands of dollars a pop in a business that more resembles old school organized crime than cutting edge medicine. But before we get to that, we have to ask, who is Adil Khan?
Support him.
On the advice of my lawyer, Sid Rao, and in the face of multiple legal threats that have already landed on my desk, it's important to start off this report with an obligatory disclaimer that I actually had in the first video too, and I've pretty much stolen word for word from the great CoffeeZilla. Thanks, Coffee. Everything I say on this channel and in this video series specifically is my opinion based on my own investigative work. Now, references to scams or fraud, counterfeits or lies, and related terms should not be taken as definitive findings of fact or legal conclusions. I've used publicly available information on and off the record interviews and independent analysis to draw strongly opinionated conclusions. Even so, there is a sharp distinction between the facts and evidence presented and the opinions drawn based on such material. No statement can or should be interpreted as a categorical declaration that any person has violated civil or criminal law unless a court has so ruled. I encourage viewers to examine my materials and reach their own
Does this
conclusions.
actually do anything?
No. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I think it would help you for sure. It wouldn't necessarily prevent somebody from suing you, but it's a good disclaimer to have.
Or in the event of any substantial factual...
No, I'm not wrong. Because after this, if he said, so now that we got that out of the way, let me tell you about how Mr. Mutin fucked a child. And here's it would not help you in the slightest, right? Even if you did that, it still does not do anything. It's true. Bring in the fucking lawyers to have them agree with me. It would be only the most mild of mildness that this could possibly maybe thwart off. But if you did something serious, some big accusations against Mr. Mutin, it would do nothing.
Why is Dan so quiet? Because these people troll me all the time. I don't know.
He fucked with his mic. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, there he goes. Oh, he's back. Oh, he's back. Oh, there he is.
You put it in front of your fucking mouth, huh?
Nice.
It was there the whole time. You fucked with my audio.
And now he's lying to us.
You fucked with me. You probably changed my audio to make me seem stupid, didn't you? You think you're so fucking clever.
That definitely
sounds
like...
Let him watch the video, man.
I think we would do.
My policy to issue corrections, which you can find in the pinned comment below and in the description. With that out of the way, you can tell a lot about someone simply by the company that they keep. And Adil Khan isn't only comfortable carrying on with former drug traffickers, but also a who's who of biohackers.
Hey guys, I'm here in Mexico with Dr. Adil Khan.
So Chris, we treated your shoulder in February in Mexico.
Celebrities like the Kardashians.
Why did Kim and Khloe Kardashian come to us for stem cell treatment?
And even Chris Hemsworth. And of course, whatever Tony Robbins is.
Yeah, some people say to me, why Dr. Khan? And I'd say, well...
Okay, I have to cut in here for a second because this guy, Tony Robbins, has just been appointed by Dr. Oz underneath RFK Jr. to advise on reforming and reshaping American healthcare policy. And this is really, really crazy because he has no idea what he's doing. He has no medical background and... Why do we let the clowns drive the car?
Okay, good pause point. Hold on. Denim's lawsuit update.
Right.
Go up.
So yes. Ethan Klein sued me for reacting to his video, the content nuke. This has still been ongoing, obviously.
Can we get a Kelshi on this? I would love to.
And as I told you guys,
a Kelshi?
Bet on the... Yeah, I wanted to be like the CDO. I want to bet on the result of this lawsuit and then sell that asset. Because I'm telling you, there is no way this motherfucker loses.
Uh-oh.
Denim's
especially
is
because
cooked.
I am very thankful that anyone and everyone donated. I would try and give updates as soon as I could, whenever I could. And yesterday there was a very, very big update. Still not resolved. No, lawsuits actually take a really long time, as you guys might guess. And previously, the most recent update I had given you guys was that the court date would be not until October. The trial date or whatever wouldn't be until October. So there was still going to be a lot of time. But there was a huge development, and we were able to move forward on a, let me pull this up, a motion for judgment on the pleadings, which is basically just getting the judge to look at the original motion and saying, hey, you should be able to rule on this just based off of the pleadings.
Hassan's hot. Oh, I'm gonna fuck him.
And obviously...
Is this like a motion for summary judgment, like a motion, but before discovery? Or, well, no, they've already done discovery, right? What does that mean, motion to dismiss based on the pleadings? Is that referring to a particular type of MSJ, or based on the pleadings? Court listener, bro, I'm not going to go through all these fucking...
There's no chance, whatever it is.
Is it just a 12B6? So a motion to dismiss would be in the pleading stage. Okay.
As you guys know, I am arguing fair use. And like I said, I want to give you guys more updates when they come, but mostly in the lawsuits and in lawsuits, there's a lot of nothing that happens. And then stuff happens. So I have been really excited to share this piece with you guys. And it just got filed yesterday. If anyone wants to read it, I highly recommend going ahead and reading it. Let me pull this.
Is Denham's the last person he's suing for copyright? I think, doesn't he still have a lawsuit against Frogan open?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Frogan and Denham's.
But yes, here it is. It was filed, yesterday. Can you put it in Discord? Yeah, I'll also post it in chat here. So, yes, really cool. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, it'll pull up the motion for judgment on the pleadings. And basically, again, just arguing how my work is fair use and how we will be winning this lawsuit.
No shot.
And I will be using every single penny, every dollar, every single bit of support from this GoFundMe directly to the legal fees. And we are still fighting, and we are still winning. And I wanted to show you guys specifically one thing that made me really happy that I have wanted to talk about for a while. Specifically on page 17, which is this image here. And it is an image breaking down my reaction to the content nuke. And it shows here a timeline of uninterrupted playback versus commentary pauses.
I don't like Denham's, like, at all, because her camera is so fucking big, and it bothers me.
Thank you, Trash Money. You're in the 10 gifties. Right, yes. So time of uninterrupted playback versus commentary pauses, reaction to the content nuke, and then each blue segment represents a commentary pause by Denham's. Gaps represent uninterrupted
This
playback.
This is basically arguing that, like, I could put on the newest Avengers, and as long as I am pausing through it, right?
It's pure retardation. There's just, it's worse than that, Mr. Moon. Because she went out and said, boy, do I fucking hate Marvel. Do not go and see this new Marvel movie. Instead, come and watch it here. Do not, and if you have some money, throw it fucking my way, okay? Do not give any money to fucking Marvel. Give it to me. We're going to watch it here together. It's going to be great. Fuck the other guy. Like, it's so unbelievable. There's zero chance that she wins. If it is, that means we can go pirate every single new movie that comes out as long as we fucking, I guess, add twice as much commentary as the movie. Is brain dead theory. She is cooked, and every penny she spends on this is amazing. I hope that fucking Ethan drags this out for years, because I guarantee you whatever the $56K that she's already raised is long fucking gone at this point. It's been like, what, 6 months? 100% gone. There's no argument at all to be made for this. You cannot use 100% of a registered copyrighted work while saying that you're doing it to defraud the creator on the launch day. I don't even want to go anymore. There's just
content nuke.
There's too much moon.
And if you take a closer look, let's zoom in a little.
I feel like the big issue here is that on this type of motion to dismiss, you're basically saying that the person who filed the complaint has failed to state a valid claim that, according to whatever civil cause of action they're citing, that they just haven't really justified that. But these are within the four corners of the complaint. These are very narrow viewings. So, like, the judge, I would be surprised if the judge ruled favorably on this. I don't think that would ever happen. But I mean, I think people generally file these anyway, just in case you can win, because why not? But
right. So,
fuck, I just accidentally. Okay.
And it is an image breaking down my reaction to the content nuke. And it shows here timeline of uninterrupted playback versus commentary pauses.
I don't like denims, like, at all, because her camera is so fucking big, and it bothers me.
Thank you, Trash Money. You're the 10 gifties. Right, yes. So time of uninterrupted playback versus commentary pauses, reaction to the content nuke, and then each blue segment represents a commentary pause by denims. Gaps represent uninterrupted playback of the content nuke. And if you take a closer look, let's zoom in a little bit more. You can see all of the blue lines are me talking and reacting and pausing, and all of the gray/white is the original video, and the orange line in the middle shows when the end of the content nuke if it was played without interruption. And you can see my reaction time is more than double. So, Denims, can you play the video already, OMG? Yeah. And I've been so excited that that bitch is a barcode. You got that right, bro. Literally facts. Yep. Mm-hmm. Let's see that graph for XQC's reaction. It's not good. But
that doesn't matter. They can see whatever the fuck they want.
I was excited to show you guys this. So anytime you guys see some imbecile that's like, sitting there breastily isn't reacting. You can show this document, you can show, or this screenshot, you can show this little image because it is a great visualization. I just scanned the code. It gave me 50% off of Amazon. Thanks. I got you, dog. Is this your document or his? This is my document. The document that my lawyers put together and my legal team put together for a motion for judgment on the pleadings, which basically, again, just means asking the judge to rule without any other
considering any
you're
evidence.
not allowed to include anything else outside of the original motion, and breaking down why my stream was fair use. And
that feel when her court case has been alive for about a year and there are only 35 items on their docket. Must be nice. That seems like fair use. Am I wrong? It's a whole ass argument that they're going to be having during this court case. There's no easy or not easy answer related to it.
There is an easy answer.
That the judge should rule on it sooner. So yes, the hearing will be, I believe, June. I don't recall the exact date. I want to say it was June. It's sometime in June. So yes, previously we would have had to wait till October for a potential trial date, and now we actually have a way sooner date.
You can always file these motions to dismiss before the discovery stage, and you can also file your MSJ after the discovery stage. So there's at least two different ways to end a case before the trial, but okay.
And a judge will...
Unless California rules of procedure are different or something, but I don't know.
We have a way sooner date, and a judge will be ruling on this way sooner, which is really, really exciting. So yes, you have to pay legal fees every month. I mean, anyone who has a lawyer does, but yeah. So I did want to say, you know, I really do appreciate all of the donations, and I really do appreciate all the support. And I wanted to give you guys more updates, but it's hard to give you guys updates when sometimes nothing is happening, and sometimes stuff is happening, but, you know, I just have to wait until the court documents are public. I highly recommend people go ahead and read through it. It is very informative. It's really long, so I don't want to sit here and read through every bit of it, but it's great. So highly, highly recommend going through. And obviously, if you guys can donate...
I don't like denims, like, at all, because her camera is so fucking big, and it bothers me.
So true. But yes, if you guys can donate, and if you guys can support me, it really means a lot. Like, I really...
Hassan's hot. Oh, I'm gonna fuck him.
Would not be able to do this without you guys. I really, really do appreciate it. Send link ethankleinlied.com.
based. Wow.
We'll send you directly to this GoFundMe. If you have $1 or $5 or 10 or 20,
maybe 6 or 7.
any and every
Good
bit
one.
helps, and all of it is going again directly to the legal fees. So yeah, and I promised you guys, I would give you guys updates as soon as I could, whenever I can, anytime that I can, and I just haven't been able to give any updates because nothing really has been happening. So now finally something is happening. How did you get the court date moved up? Well, it's not that I got the court date moved up, it's that we filed a
Is this just cope or legitimate delusion? Like, is she grifting for the free roll, knowing she'll lose, or does she think she can win? Anything can happen. But for this, I think there's almost no chance that they get approved on this particular thing. So I don't know why she's overhyping it, but
motion for judgment on the pleadings, which is basically easiest way to explain it is sort of like asking the judge to rule on it sooner without any other evidence. You're saying this case it should be ruled on with just off of the original motion, just off of the original filing. So yes, means the judge can look through the documents because it's so obvious. Yeah, these are like layman terms and stuff, but yeah. What makes the whole thing take so long? A lot of just like waiting time, and courts tend to be pretty backed up with stuff that they have to get to. So yeah. So yes, link to lawsuit. Oh yes, absolutely. Here you go.
Why
You
isn't
guys
she talking
are
shit on her
welcome to-
judge?
well, theirs is, I don't know.
Imagine if it was a Jewish judge. It's not, but that would be really funny.
Jesus.
Oh, that'd
Go
be funny.
through
Because
like I
then
said,
every time a ruling came out that wasn't beneficial, they would blame the judge.
it should be at the very last one if you scroll down. Oh. But yeah, this whole debacle at least got some sound bites. And obviously, again, you can spare anything. Do you want it sticky in the Discord? Oh, yes, please. Thank you. If you can spare anything, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And again, I literally would only be able to do this because of you guys. Or I'm only able to do this because of your guys' support and help. Oh, thank you, Ryu, for the 25. Thanks. It means a lot. And I'm really excited. And I am excited to share something with you guys. Because there's a lot of time where I feel like nothing is happening. People sometimes will come in and be like, oh, that stuff is over, right? It's like, no. No, it's still going on. There's still more stuff to get to. But yes, and also I wanted to show you guys this graphic that together that shows, because I feel like it's a little bit, how would I phrase it?
Well, as long as we got the graphic, hell yeah.
I know it's a sign that people don't try hard enough and are kind of idiots when they say like, you didn't react at all. You literally didn't react at all. But it's cool to be able to have an image that shows it so clearly. So yeah, anytime you see some bozo being like, gonna lose, imbecile, you can just copy paste this. Be like, actually,
send him that.
Shrimp-a-laz.
No.
Oh God.
Actually, no. No, Omega lol. Get barcoded, bozo.
I hope that her attorneys have told her like, oh, we're definitely gonna win on this motion to submit, and that's why she's so confident. Because that'll be really funny. If she thinks that like this is going to be successful.
Exactly. My lawyer can't do fucking shit. But yeah. So, very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. For those who are interested, go for it. Read it. I think we put together a pretty good document. And please know I am constantly wanting to give you guys more updates because I do feel like I try.
Holy shit, I feel like we've looped at this point like 6 times.
Or I want to have transparency, the most transparency I can have.
Like things take a long time, so I'm glad I can post things whenever I have the opportunity
raising money for legal fees or raising money for anything.
I couldn't do this without you guys.
I haven't been able to give as many updates because there just haven't been
anything happening.
There haven't been any massive updates that I could give. And now that there is, I want to be able to say and keep you guys in the loop. Because I feel like I owe it to everyone, even if you donated just like $1. I feel like
filing,
there
I
is
guess.
a responsibility on my part to give you guys updates as soon as I can. And there is
turned a 1-hour
yes.
movie into 2 hours. Judge, I rest my case. It's like, okay, I don't think that's going to work.
The judge will be, I believe, ruling on this motion in June, which is really soon. Really exciting. And yes, thank you guys for being patient. Thank you guys for sticking through. And now we have this cool little graphic. And we got a great document.
The Mueller
and there will be
bills are
even more
gone,
updates
people.
soon. There's just a matter of waiting for their response, and then the judge will
One more
rule
time, Denims.
but yes,
Again.
yes, every bit of obviously,
I don't like Denims.
if you
You're a
don't
hater, Dan.
use GoFundMe or whatever.
I am. Oh, yes, that's true.
This is the reason I hate Hassan. His camera is so fucking small.
In your court case, how much time do you spend on working on documents with your lawyers? Any ballpark? How much time do you spend over the course of the case? I don't even know if I could ballpark it. But over the past 6 months, I've done almost nothing, or not that much, very little. In the first 6 months, there was a lot of writing up, like dozens and dozens of pages of context, or it took me a long time to dig out to figure out how to put logs together for everything, to hunt down video titles, and I had to do a whole write-up, like it was like a 15-page response to that shitty fucking expert witness they brought in to try to claim the Discord vulnerability thing or whatever, just a lot of dumb shit like that.
And it bothers me. But yeah, no, any bit of help, I really appreciate it. Whether that's like a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 sub, a prime, or if you could donate directly to the GoFundMe, that all helps. Every bit helps.
Was there a specific format you needed to do stuff in? No, I know that QB Farms lawyer guy is saying it in a lot of, but that's not really, no. I don't know why. It's just dumb, yeah.
Helps, and I get to, fight this because of your guys' help, so thank you.
Because of your help, thank you.
Contraman, thank you for this. 60.
Wow.
Oh, shit. Holy fuck.
I'll give you odds, Steve, if you want to do a bet.
On what? Whether she loses?
Yes.
Okay, 10
You
to
would
1.
need to give me like 10,000 to 1.
I'll do 10 to 1.
That's free money, Dan.
10 to 1, so 90%. How about 75 to 100? How about that? I think that's fair. 3 to 4.
Oh, that's almost 1-to-1 odds on you screaming about how confident you are every single day that she's 100% lost the case. Why the fuck would I give you 1-to-1 odds on that? No, what?
Activist judge.
5 to 1 at best.
All right, I'll take it.
Okay.
$1,000.
$100.
No, like, oh, well, fine. So you get 500, I get 100. But the thing is, you don't pay up though when you lose.
Really?
How?
I feel like there's been some bets and I haven't.
I feel like our ledger on anything else, you owed me like $20 or something because we made a bet on
I'd have to go back and
we would have to go back and check. I feel like because we talked to the AI.
Oh, I
and
think there was some big
AI.
money on the Intel stuff also. You were like, "There's no way that Intel will go up. You're retarded. I'll bet you $1 billion." So like,
why
you
would
owe
I
me
go on
$1 billion.
Intel? I don't know. Fuck. Nah. Now you lying. Now you lying.
I came in. I was wearing all Intel swag, and you called me a retard and said that I was.
Doesn't mean I bet on it.
Yeah, no, you bet on fucking Nvidia.
You're a liar.
You're a liar, Dan.
Shut up,
True.
Lucas.
He is lying.
Oh God. I don't know. There's just no chance that this wins. The only thing, like, I suppose he could settle since he settled with Casey Tron, but then I don't know why he hasn't settled with Frogan, who I assume is more poor than Casey Tron.
Maybe she doesn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, it could, but
yeah, you guys, I'll be the bookie.
There is no chance. Denims can't win this case. Like, if you think about it, it can't, because that would be the end of movies. You understand that, right?
There could be so many different things that go into any copyright
Tell
case.
me how it would be different, because
you're trying to compare watching a 1-hour video to a 1-hour Marvel movie. I don't know if all the 4 factors would play into this exactly the same way. And I feel like you could theoretically make the exact opposite argument that if Ethan Klein were to win this case, it could end all React content because now everybody can be sued for reacting to any video.
Totally different.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think Dan would say it's probably because of how it was formatted. Like Ethan did it
the
with
entirety.
Yeah.
It was the entirety of the work. It was a registered work, just like a movie. It was done with the intent to defraud. It was done with the.
Why do you mean when you say intent to defraud? Who's being defrauded?
Denims was dumb enough to say, "Do not watch it on Ethan's stream. Watch it on my stream," meaning you were defrauding by.
There's no fraud here. You could argue maybe like torturous interference or something. There's no fraud going on. Everybody knows that they're watching a React stream of Denims and she doesn't have a contract or an agreement with Ethan. There's no defrauding here.
Well, I mean, what would you say that copyright infringement is?
I don't know. What, torturous interference or theft of copyright, I guess? I don't know. What is the what
You're
is the
cooked right now, Dan?
Shut
I'm
up,
not.
Mooten.
Yeah, Moot. Fuck
Stop,
you.
Moot. You're
Sorry,
bullying
sir.
Dan too much. Stop.
You know,
right
I don't
now.
even want to fucking do this anymore. You know what? We
Oh,
got our
yeah,
bet.
now we fucking go.
Oh, because now, you know what? I got my bet. My money's where my mouth is. That's it. That's enough. That's enough. It's fine.
Jesus.
Just too much bullying.
Okay. Back to the guy. True.
In the regrettable world of our collective social media Sharknado, credibility often rests on popularity and whatever the algorithm wants to throw in our direction. The constant celebrity endorsements of Khan's clinic lends him an air of trustworthiness that makes it easy to overlook his actual credentials. But it doesn't take long to see that Khan's medical background is wanting. According to his LinkedIn profile, he graduated from medical school at the University of Ottawa in 2015 and finished his residency in sports
What's wrong
medicine
with that?
2 years later. Now, one of his first jobs was slinging online weight loss solutions while also freelancing at a clinic where he provided spinal shots for pain management.
Based.
Then he moonlit as the chief medical officer for a company that uses shockwaves to help relieve erectile dysfunction
Based.
called onmen.ca. Incidentally, when I tried to go to that website just now, it actually redirects to a porn site. Anyway, he also took a role formulating supplements for weightlifters at a company called HD Muscle. Now, I know what you're thinking. Supplements, erectile dysfunction, pain shots. This sounds like exactly the resume you would expect to coincide with someone on the forefront of a scientific and medical revolution. Someone who heightens the already high standards we hold to people in the field of regenerative medicine. A man.
Fact! There are no requirements in the field of regenerative medicine.
Oh, yeah, okay, but surely something as cutting edge as stem cell therapy requires some advanced training, right?
Yeah, no, it's just a marketing term.
But he has a medical license?
Excuse me. No, thank you. No, you can go a little further. Here we go. According to the College of Physicians and Surgeons in Ontario, he let his registration expire last year, meaning that he is not able to practice medicine there despite owning a clinic in Toronto. His LinkedIn profile says the Ontario Medical Association certified him in sports medicine, except when we checked it out, it turned out that they don't even issue sports medicine certifications. And not only that, but the College of Family Physicians of Canada told us over email that they never issued him a certificate.
Sure, but maybe these are just like administrative errors. I mean, he's a licensed doctor, right?
Yeah, that's not really clear. He doesn't come up on any US databases, and we couldn't access the databases in Abu Dhabi and Mexico.
All right, but he's qualified to play a doctor on TV.
Maybe on TikTok?
Okay, so licensed or not, it's clear that Adil Khan is brilliant at marketing. After he worked his way up through supplement slinging and erectile dysfunction clinics, he was ready to make the leap over to selling the dream of regenerative medicine and stem cell solutions. He branded his practice Eterna Health before he had any brick and mortar offices. In order to see patients who found him on Instagram, though, he had to book office spaces at existing clinics and appeared at wellness events around the world, treating patients and then moving on to the next location after a few days. One patient, who I'm going to keep anonymous, told me that he traveled to Khan's clinic in 2023 after a seizure left him with a painful condition which caused part of his spine to degenerate. After a friend sent him Adil Khan's Instagram profile, he raised money for a stem cell injection on GoFundMe. Khan demanded half the $16,000 fee up front, and my source sent him a check and then booked it.
Holy shit! This is almost like Did you ever see Saw 10?
No, fuck off.
What?
I haven't seen any of the Saw movies since like maybe the second one. What was the one where they pushed their face through a bunch of razor blades to get out?
Isn't that like Saw 1? Or 3? Or 2?
I think the first one was when there was the dude in the center of the cell that they all thought was dead, but he wasn't dead. That was the first one, right?
That was the first one.
Okay, so the second one was the razor blades. Ah.
Get to Cabo. Incidentally, the price he paid in 2023 was pretty cheap compared to what it would become a year later. In this leaked email, Eterna Health quoted another patient $115,865 for a series of stem cell injections, but generously offered a 15% discount and no refunds. Anyway, now he was excited to get this state-of-the-art treatment, but the clinic, well, it didn't look like what he expected. This was a picture that he took from the outside. But he'd come this far. He put his reservations aside and went in for prep. And though they had been very keen to take his money, when he actually met Khan before the procedure, it wasn't clear to my source at all that Khan was even familiar with his case.
And I remember as I was, in the gurney or, being wheeled in, I had a chance to speak to him. And I reiterated, because the communication was so poor prior to the procedure, that L5S1 is where I got the surgery, but due to the, I didn't hear back from you in the past little while, I wanted to confirm that this is what we're doing, or this is where the pain is. And he goes, oh yeah, and on the fly, right before I went in for the procedure, he changed the protocol. Instead of injecting the L5S1 area, he went ahead and injected directly in the cauda region, where my nerve damage was.
That's right. Khan appeared confused about what he was supposed to do and then decided on the fly to inject the entirely wrong region of his patient's spine. Khan predicted that his patient would be on the next flight home and said that he had an 80% chance of full recovery. But my source said that the procedure only made his condition worse.
And it was very painful, and basically it worsened my situation. It was already pretty bad, but I didn't think it could get worse, but it did.
While the patient would ultimately have to spend a month bedridden in Cabo before he felt well enough to get on a plane, Khan was already long gone the next day. Here is what Khan posted on Instagram just a few hours after that procedure was done.
Just finished our last day here in Los Cabos. I'll be going to Miami this weekend and doing some work there and hopefully getting this clinic finalized so we can start getting this project going, and hopefully it'll be done by the end of this year. And I'll be in Europe, most likely in October, and then we're going to be doing a trip to New York City in October as well, and then we'll be in Dubai and Egypt in November, and then we will be in Los Cabos again in December. So a lot of people are asking where I'm going to be and what type of treatments they can get, so check out our website, eterna.health, for updates as well.
Unable to reach Khan for any sort of follow-up, my source said he had to find a local doctor to prescribe him antibiotics, and those antibiotics probably saved his life. And this seemed to be a pattern for Khan's early years as a stem cell supplier. Always on the move and always one step.
I think I've told this story before, that the moment I realized how you can have crazy technological updates but not like realize it was when it was the first time I walked into a McDonald's and I saw, I think it was plasma screen TVs on the wall. I know you guys don't give a fuck, but when flat screen TVs started to be a thing, when plasma screen TVs started to be a thing, this is just like an unbelievable technology, okay? TVs were these huge, monstrously unwieldy things. And when you started to get these like LCD, these mini screens, like it was just insane that you could have something so small. Plasma screens, I think, came and went in all of like 5 years before other forms of technology started to replace them. You guys remember the old plasmas where you could like put your finger on them and there'd be like, it was like actually like liquid inside, it seemed like it. One thing that we used to worry about all the time was like how shitty the internet could be. We're like completely and totally inside that shit internet where the majority of the things we see online are bots. A lot of Reddit comments are bots. Everybody is just lying about like fucking everything. All of the misinformation is just kind of like standard. There are tons of people that are making money off of it. The platform owners, especially Elon at the very least, are like participating in it. We're like super, super, super deep into like the dog shit fucking internet era, and nobody seems to be able to do anything or has the desire to do anything about it. It's very disappointing.
Ahead of anyone who would be able to hold him to account for complications. But his social media fame was only growing. Soon, famous people started falling into his orbit. Here he is describing how he soon started attracting interest from some of the wealthiest men in the world.
The first time I went to Dubai was to treat this man named Mohammed Alabar. He's the owner of the Burj Khalifa and Emaar property, so he owns the 6 tallest buildings in the world, and he's...
Like, I'm thinking this because I want to say to this guy, like what I was tempted to say was that, like, you know what, I'm okay with medical stuff like that because he's only hurting himself, so fuck him. If you guys want to do dumb shit medical treatments that are causing you your own body harm or damage, I mean, that's on you to, to fuck your own life up. But like, the reality is like the guy he just doesn't know better. And should he? Like, if you're so deep in all of the crazy shit online where you're just seeing like so many lies and so much misinformation, like how the fuck is some individual even supposed to be able to know when, people are lying to you or it's medical, just like if you're like, could it really be the case that Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson and the trigonometry guys and RFK Jr. and Donald Trump and all these guys, are they all really wrong in the exact same way about the medical stuff? Like, it's probably, and I do know a lot of people who've been to doctors and have had some kind of like bad side effect from a medication or a surgery. And I've, grandma had issues with her medication and blah, blah, blah. It's like, fuck it. I'll give this stuff a try. Like, I'm sympathetic towards like the normie who just doesn't have the time to, like, nobody really has the time to dig through all this shit on their own,
But the wealthiest man in Dubai, business-wise.
Shortly after that treatment, Khan...
Denims is a way better defendant than Destiny. 1, talks competently about her case. 2, knows all the words. No hedging or, I think it means, cowardice. 3, progressing her way more quickly. Destiny is slow and doesn't know how to get from A to B efficiently. 4, sounds positive and chill. No stress, no mess. 5, asks for help when she needs it like a mature adult. 6, made her own graphics. Goes above and beyond whatever scribbling Destiny does on Paint. It was really annoying how snarky Destiny was being about her update when he himself has gone months without managing to provide a single significant update to his case. True.
Opened up his first full-time stem cell clinic based out of Dubai. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume that this was in part funded by an investment by Alabar himself. That clip I showed you, it's from a podcast by Sean Stevenson. The podcast is called Model Health Show. And if I'm correctly decoding the interconnected web of Manosphere podcasts, then Stevenson is also the host of the Mind Pump Show, where Khan has also been a guest.
And
this is where it gets crazy, because one of the 2 other co-hosts over there is Adam Schafer, whose own stem cell journey with Khan sounds a lot like what happened to Mark Hyman from my first episode. Here he is talking about how his wife...
Also, I haven't made fun of this guy yet, but I'm sorry, Mark Hyman, this name? Come on.
...died from sepsis after she got a treatment from Khan.
So she went out there to do, I wouldn't say a routine, but a pretty, somewhat basic stem cell treatment, right? So
what?
This fucking background.
Oh.
to do.
Oh, you're just mad because you just got exposed as being a fake NBA fan, right?
No, it's just stupid because it's fucking very, very, very bro-coded.
What, you don't like shoes?
No, I don't like shoes. I don't like the fucking shitty fake noise paneling. It's ugly.
Okay.
Shoes are the best.
I wouldn't say a routine, but a pretty, somewhat basic stem cell treatment, right? So she was doing it for her ovaries for fertility, and flew in the top surgeon in the world from Dubai to come do it. So she's in good hands. She's with Dr. Khan and all them, and so the best of the best is taking care of her.
Schaefer bought into the social media hype around Khan that he helped create. He was under the impression that he had sent his wife to one of the most reputable stem cell doctors in the world. After all, Khan had been on his show. What better?
This whole media thing is also, it goes into that, I think I've mentioned this before, the whole Joe Rogan of the left. How do we create a Joe Rogan of the left? Joe Rogan was not created by the right directly. He was created by, he just consumed misinformation like every normal American, and he fell for it. He just happened to have a huge platform. That was it. He wasn't created in some conservative laboratory. They didn't make a deliberate effort to try to turn Joe Rogan into a conservative. He was just on social media, beholden to the same algorithms that all of us are, and then became captured by them and then started propagating it on his show. That's it.
That he had sent his wife to one of the most reputable stem cell doctors in the world. After all, Khan had been on his show. What better recommendation is there than that?
So I called Dr. Khan. I'm like, hey, something's wrong with Katrina. She doesn't sound right. And he's like, yeah, well, it's kind of normal, this and that. There's an immune response, 24 to 48 hours. I said, yeah, I don't think so. I said, I want a nurse with her. I said, so whatever it costs, whatever it takes, get a nurse over with her. I want someone staying by her side and at least measuring and checking her vitals until we can get her home to me or whatever. And he said, okay, no problem, we get that done. So they sent a nurse over there.
Just like with other cases that I've documented, Khan did not seem concerned about his patients getting sicker after treatment and more or less shrugged it off. Schaefer again.
I have some of the most brilliant doctors that are friends of ours now at the being able to text them. And so I'm texting everybody, sitting in labs, explaining to me what's going on, this and that. And they're going, she's going sepsis. Oh. So if the audience doesn't understand, it's when bacteria gets into your bloodstream, and that's life or death.
I don't think normal Americans believe in flat earth theory. I would say you're probably right. No, you're definitely right on that. I am curious what the percentage is now versus before, but I do think that if I had to guess, more Americans today believe that the moon landing was a hoax than they did 15 years ago. That's my vibe.
Yeah, big time.
I don't know if there's a way to, if there's polling data on that. Does anybody have a thing on that? I'd be curious to see if my vibe is right or wrong on that.
And they're going, she's going sepsis. Oh. So if the audience doesn't understand, it's when bacteria gets into your bloodstream, and that's life or death.
Yes. Oh, that's a 100% medical emergency.
Over the course
Will
of
you
that
help me fix
episode,
my background, Steve? I don't know what the fuck to do.
On what?
On my background, man.
In real life?
Yeah, my streaming background, dude.
Okay. Wait, what's the difference between septic and sepsis or whatever?
Sepsis, I think, is the
You
it
have
was what we read
sepsis.
earlier. Septic is where I think you're fucked from bowel shit. Am I right?
Noun versus adjective. So sepsis was your immune system overreacting to shit. I've heard of this bacteria in the bloodstream too. What's the difference between... Why is it called sepsis sometimes? Hi, what's up, Sam?
Wow. What's up, Mr. Steven? You got a couple minutes?
I don't know. Do I? For what?
To record a little video segment.
I'll do it after stream. Link me.
Uh-huh. What if we did it right now?
What's it about?
It is 30 seconds of you pointing at the camera and telling the viewer to go fill out the form linked in the YouTube video description.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a thing I can do after stream.
I think you could do it now.
I could do it after stream.
Yeah, I mean, could?
I can definitely do it after stream. Link me what you want me to say, and I'll check it out.
Uh-huh. And you're going to do a take where you're really energetic. You're pointing at come on, let's go. And
That's
it's not going to
definitely
be a
gonna
case you're going to send me a video of you being flat, and then I'm going to have to bother you again.
Yeah, it'll be super great.
I can predict the future. Hey guys, what's up? You should go over to DGG Politics and do whatever. All right, I'm done.
Guys, one in chat if you think you should do it right now, guys. One in chat.
I'm not doing it right now, so I don't care how many ones are in chat, so it doesn't matter. Get fucked. I am busy learning about sepsis.
Okay, buddy. I will send it to your DMs right now.
Okay, send me the thing. Necrosis, necrotic, septic, sepsis. Why is it that sometimes sepsis is bacteria in the bloodstream, and sometimes it's...
You don't know? Seriously?
Yeah, I don't know. Sepsis is organ damage from an infection. Bacteremia is bacteria in the blood. Why do some people call that sepsis? Does bacteremia lead to sepsis? Is that why they call it sepsis? Or
explains that the doctors in Mexico were eventually able to stabilize his wife enough that they could hop a flight back to the United States. And they thought she was okay, but then she relapsed again and was treated at a state-of-the-art hospital before she eventually recovered.
Scariest week of my life, hands down.
Now, interestingly, Schaefer never connected the dots that his own wife's complications could have possibly been the result of malpractice. I reached out to the Mind Pump team for comment, but they never responded. In fact, Khan is still welcome in the Mind Pump media ecosystem. My guess here is that they're either unaware of exactly how many cases are coming out of his clinic, or so overwhelmed with confirmation bias and the chance that treatments that they have recommended on their channel could be hurting members of their audience that follow their advice, that they choose to ignore the evidence right in front of them, even when it gets the people who are closest to them sick. The same might also be true for the actor and director, Justin Baldoni. Now, before I began reporting on this piece, I had never actually heard of Baldoni before, but apparently he's a bit of a heartthrob and had recently gotten into litigation with Blake Lively, and people are passionate about that story. I mean, he also sued the New York Times.
What is your, wait, why do you want to change your stream background?
I think it looks ugly. I don't know what to put back there.
Well, not a fucking cat box, I'll tell you that much.
What do you have that's
I need
nice?
to move that.
One of the basic things you can do besides lighting and all that is try. I think your camera is very high, right? Is it on stream as well, or do you use a different camera for Discord?
Yeah, same thing.
Having a camera at eye level is step one to make things not look as kind of weird. But there you go. Boom.
How do I put it at eye level when there's a fucking monitor in front of me?
Put the monitor to the side.
Between two monitors?
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
Defamation. Regardless of all of that, he's a well-known connoisseur of regenerative medicine because of chronic back pain. Here he is in 2020 in Colombia getting a stem cell injection while singing charmingly into his phone to his child and then posting it on social media.
I love you, a bushel and a peck, a bushel and a peck. Oh, I feel it.
So right after he got that injection, he gushed in his social media post about how he could feel the new life energy from the stem cells entering into his body.
Life
There's
energy.
a powerful energy in these stem cells, man. This is new life.
He felt like he was on the road to recovery, but apparently it didn't stick. He was still, just a few years later, looking for some way to fix his degenerated discs. So a couple of years later, he took to social media to find a new doctor and ended up on Khan's doorstep.
So about 9 months ago, I reached out to Dr. Khan, who is at the forefront of stem cell technology. I have some damage to the cartilage and meniscus in both knees. He injected both my knees with stem cell. He also gave me an injection in my shoulder because I had some arthritis in my shoulder. And I just wasn't sure what the results would be because like everyone else, you see this stuff on social media and you're just not sure what's real and what's not.
That joint is arthritic and it's inflamed. So we're going to inject stem cells in there to calm down the inflammation and to prevent the arthritis from getting worse and obviously repair some of the damage that's been done. We also combine them with peptides, which enhance everything. Making sure things in the right spot is also a big deal.
On August 28th, 2024, Khan's clinic put out a press release that they were officially treating Baldoni's back. And you're going to be shocked by this.
What?
I know. It wasn't long until Baldoni was in the hospital recovering from an infection. Now, again, I have no interest in celebrity infighting, and I know people have strong emotions about it, but the discovery published in the court case actually revealed interesting chatter about the infection. One document states, and I'll quote, rather than truthfully acknowledge why the entire cast refused to promote the film with the director or launching an investigation, Abel, Baldoni, and Heath brainstormed possible cover stories, including a recent hospitalization to treat an infection from spinal stem cell treatment in Mexico. And that stem cell infection comes up again in the text messages between his crisis PR team. Stephanie Jones.
He said he got stem cells in Cabo, so that's probably why he has an infection now. Jesus.
Jennifer Abel.
Yep.
Stephanie Jones.
Idiot.
Jennifer Abel.
You don't get stem cells in Mexico.
Stephanie Jones.
Who goes to Mexico for this?
Jennifer Abel.
And then agrees to post about it so that he gets it for free.
Matthew Mitchell.
When it's free for him, we know that. He does the sketchiest shit to his body and says that his outside reaction is due to stress. No, baby boy. It's because you got a janky-ass procedure from a strange-ass doctor in Mexico. You get what you paid for.
Obviously, he's no longer working with that PR team. However, the point they raise is quite important. One reason that Khan works with celebrities is so that he can put out press releases that use their names, which ultimately brings in more ordinary patients into his practice. It's all top-of-the-funnel lead generation. It's why so many celebrities who have had him on their podcasts also show up in his various videos getting stem cell treatments.
Hey guys, I'm here in Mexico with Dr. Adil Khan. I'm about to do VEGF gene therapy.
I mean, I think we can assume that a lot of this is done quid pro quo, with no actual money exchanged. After all, this is sort of an unspoken rule of celebrity economics. You probably already know that America's healthcare system is a steaming pile of garbage. And the reason for this, at least in part, is because our private insurance industry drives premiums up and prices up in an ever-recurring cycle where health insurance, like just getting coverage, is hard for any normal person to attain. 2 years ago, I switched away from my normal insurance policy that was costing me almost $1,000 a month with a $14,000 deductible, which basically mean I didn't have any real coverage, to move over to a company called Crowd Health, which is something like more like a health share system. Think of it as a giant community of people who are pooling money together every month, usually under $300. In fact, I think $300 is the most they've ever charged per month. And then if there's a problem, the most you'll ever pay out of pocket is $500 per incident, per bus hit, which is a pretty good deal for a bus hit. If you are interested in finding out more, go to joincrowdhealth.com and you can use my discount code. The code is Carney for a reduction in your first couple months of premiums. The only reason I would sponsor Crowd Health is because it is something that I actually use. It is my personal healthcare plan, and the more people who join, the more secure it is. So go find out more. My code is Carney. Let's get back to the video. While I was the first person to report publicly how Mark Hyman got sepsis from treatments he received from Khan's Eterna Health Clinic, basically all of the top influencers and longevity scientists already knew what had happened. They just decided to keep it secret. For instance, who do you think Andrew Huberman is talking about in this clip from last month in a conversation he was having with Gwyneth Paltrow?
And there's a very public-facing physician who paralyzed himself with a stem cell injection into his spine recently.
Oh, no.
Don't get stem cells injected into the discs, I was told, because the discs can't receive stem cells.
Oh, boy.
When he went to a clinic, he was paralyzed.
I don't understand the point of keeping all of this under wraps. If all of these health influencers knew about the dangers and potentially deadly outcomes, they could have put their energy into actually warning their audiences about this clinic, which was a known danger. I mean, it's kind of stunning that 3 of Khan's celebrity clients actually came down with serious bacterial infections that led to hospitalizations. I mean, if Khan can't step up his safety protocols for people with immense power and fame, then I shudder to think what his complication rate is with ordinary people who just come to his clinic. This is, of course, a question that is almost impossible to answer. Khan moves across international borders with ease, and no regulatory authority has the logistical ability to keep track of the complications that originate in his clinics. The only people who actually know what is going on inside Eterna Health are the employees who receive the complaints, and very few of them are talking. I mean, I know because I asked. This is a very similar problem that I ran across while reporting my book, The Red Market, on the trail of the world's organ brokers, bone thieves, blood farmers, and child traffickers, where I quite literally traveled all across the planet tracking criminal actors who bought and sold human body parts. Now, organ traffickers benefit from the ability to split their crimes across national borders and easily run circles around law enforcement. I called it the red market because, unlike traditional black and white markets, moving biological materials...
Okay, I don't know if I need to watch the rest of this, but so this is the same guy that Adil Khan was the same one that Jordan Peterson went to? Is this...
raises additional ethical questions about where human-derived materials come from and where they end up in clinical treatments. Now, at the end of the book, I suggested that the only way to break apart red markets is to introduce radical transparency into all legal human tissue pipelines, because the criminals are almost always able to hide behind a facade of medical privacy. For instance, if you want to know if the kidney you received from a transplant is legal, then it would be nice to be able to legally track it down to its source. Instead, they say, oh no, we can't do that because it harms patient privacy, and thereby often giving the cover story to actual criminals who are stealing human body parts. Stem cells are, of course, also human-derived materials. They often come from the umbilical cords of newly born children. And if they're being sourced criminally, then there are potential victims at the beginning.
Well. Jesus, chill, bro. Footage of the destroyer of the USS Bruce. Firing its main gun at the Iranian-flagged cargo vessel Tuska as it attempted to run the U.S. blockade today. That's crazy.